रिफ़ंड पूरा हम देके, हमने बोला कि हमको रिफ़ंड नहीं चाहिए, वी डोंट वांट रिफ़ंड, वी वांट न्यू फ़्लाइट, आप न्यू फ़्लाइट के तो न्यू टिकट हमको करके दो। तो अब वो सब मेरे हस्बैंड कर रहे हैं।
तो यही सेम फ्लाइट पहले 2 बार और भी कैंसिल हो चुकी है।
हाँ, 2 बार हमारी ये फ़्लाइट कैंसिल हुई है और एयर इंडिया कोई जवाब नहीं देते। हम मैसेज भी करते तो इतना होल्ड होता है, हमको 15-15 मिनट होल्ड रखना पड़ता है और हमको सामने से भी अच्छा कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आता है एयर इंडिया में से। अब हम लोग अभी अगली बार से एयर इंडिया में आने वाले नहीं हैं।
So in fact, see Shivangi, people here, the passengers here of this particular Air India flight are, there is utter chaos. I would ask my camera person to kindly show you the visuals. This is the window from where they have in fact, this is the T2 departure from where they were going to enter. In fact, we would ask a few passengers here if they are willing to speak to us. आप में से कौन जा रहा था? अच्छा, आप जा रहे थे. I would ask my camera person to kindly show you. आपका नाम क्या है?
विशाल पटेल।
और आप ये एयर इंडिया की फ़्लाइट में जाने वाले थे?
यस, नहीं मैं नहीं, मेरे मम्मी पापा जाने वाले थे। तो अभी क्या है, मॉर्निंग में मैंने कॉल किया था एयर इंडिया में, उन लोगों ने बताया कि जो फ़्लाइट है वो ऑन टाइम है। फिर हम इधर आए तो बता रहे थे कि फ़्लाइट है वो डिले हुई है 3 आवर्स। सो हमको 1 PM की जगह 3 PM का टाइम दिया। और अभी जब टाइम बोर्डिंग का आया, अंदर जाने का है, चेक इन का टाइम आया, तो वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि अब फ़्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई है। सो वो लोग अच्छे से रिफ़ंड का भी आंसर नहीं दे रहे हैं। हम लोग कॉल सेंटर में बात कर रहे हैं, वहाँ भी कोई भी कॉल रिसीव नहीं कर रहा है। और वो लोग यही बता रहे हैं कि हम आपको 10-15 दिन में रिफ़ंड कर देंगे। और दूसरी फ़्लाइट लेने की हम बात कर रहे हैं तो वो लोग ये बताए नहीं, हम लोग आपको रिशेड्यूल कल दे देंगे।
यही सेम फ्लाइट के लिए क्या ऐसा हुआ है कि ये फ्लाइट पहले भी कैंसिल हुई?
पहले भी कैंसिल हुई है मैम, पहले भी कैंसिल हुई है। और
एयर इंडिया ने रीज़न क्या बताया है कैंसिलेशन का?
नहीं, कोई रीज़न ही नहीं बता रहे, वो कुछ भी रीज़न नहीं बता रहे। कोई लोग बोल रहे हैं कि टेक्निकल इश्यू के लिए, कई लोग बोल रहे हैं कि हम क्या है कि अभी प्रॉब्लम खराब वेदर के लिए, वो सब बोल रहे हैं।
We have one more passenger with us who was going to in fact fly in this very flight. So what is your name?
My name is Vijay Singh Zala. I am an advocate practicing in Gujarat High Court.
So did they tell you what is the reason behind the cancellation of this particular air?
Actually, when we reached here, there are 3-4 persons from the Air India Airlines, and the reasons stated by them are different. There are 3 persons who are here to respond, and each and every person is giving a different reply. One is saying that there is some technical issue. The second one is saying that there is a delay in the flight to reach here from Delhi to Ahmedabad. Therefore, today takeoff is not possible, and other reasons are being stated which are not plausible.
So what is your next step? What are you going to do? Are you going to seek response from Air India? Since you are also an advocate and you have seen a horrendous incident that happened just a few days back, Air India का ही crash हुआ था. What are you? What is your next step that you are going to take?
First of all, as we have seen that the 12th of June was the incident जो इंडिया में इतने सालों बाद इतना बड़ा इंसिडेंट हुआ था, इसलिए जो पैसेंजर्स को जाने के लिए बहुत ही अर्जेंट था वही लोग ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं। एज वी हैव सीन इन न्यूज़ कि 50% लोगों ने एयर इंडिया में जाने से कैंसिल कर दिया। तो अभी जो 50% है वो लोग हैं जिनको बहुत जाना ज़रूरी था, इसलिए वो लोग ट्रैवल आज कर रहे थे। और कल रात को जब एयर इंडिया एयरलाइंस का फर्स्ट फ्लाइट टेक ऑफ किया, तब जाके हम लोगों ने एयर इंडिया हेल्पलाइन नंबर पे कांटेक्ट करके पूछा कि क्या आज फ्लाइट टाइम पे टेक ऑफ करने वाला है। तब वहाँ से आंसर मिलता है कि हाँ, आज 1:10 को जो 159 वाला फ़्लाइट है वो टाइम पे ही टेक ऑफ करेगा। तो जब सुबह हम लोग उठे तब एक मैसेज आता है कि सॉरी फॉर द इनकन्वीनियंस, योर फ्लाइट इज़ डिलेड बाय 2 आवर्स। सो 1:10 की बजाय अभी 3 बजे टेक ऑफ करने वाला है। इसलिए फिर भी हम लोग टाइम पे आ गए। हमको पता था कि ये ट्रैजिक इंसिडेंट होने के बाद कुछ भी हो सकता है, इसलिए हम लोगों को टाइम पे पहुंचना पड़ा। इसलिए पूरे गुजरात से और आउट ऑफ गुजरात से बहुत सारे लोग ट्रैवल करके आज टाइम पे यहाँ एयरपोर्ट पे पहुँचे। जैसे ही एयरपोर्ट पे पहुँचते हैं तो यहाँ एक काउंटर लगा है, वहाँ से एयर इंडिया एयरलाइंस वालों ने आंसर दिया है कि योर फ्लाइट हैज़ बीन कैंसल्ड। और जब सब लोगों को ये कैंसलेशन वाला मैसेज दिया गया तो सभी लोग ऑलरेडी तो पैनिक में थे, वो डर का माहौल तो था ही सबके अंदर। बट वो लोग ट्रैवल कर रहे थे क्योंकि उनको मोस्ट अर्जेंट जाना था। अब जब रीज़न पूछा गया तो वो 3-4 लोग हैं वो अलग अलग रिप्लाई दे रहे हैं, और जब लोग सब पैनिक होके सब बोल रहे हैं कि हम लोगों को जाना इसलिए तो हम लोग ये फ़्लाइट ट्रैवल करके जा रहे थे, वरना कैंसिल करके कोई दूसरी फ़्लाइट में चले जाते हैं। तो अभी उन लोगों ने सबको सेटिस्फेक्शन देने के लिए ये बोला है कि मोस्ट टू मोस्ट हम लोग आपको एकोमोडेशन दे सकते हैं। अगर आपको कोई ट्रैवलिंग अलाउंसेस, कोई ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट लगा है तो आप कल या परसों आके हम लोगों से क्लेम कर सकते हैं, और अगर आपको रिफ़ंड चाहिए तो हम लोग आपको रिफ़ंड कर देंगे। बट जब कोई कंफर्मेशन पूछ रहे हैं कि कब रिफ़ंड होगा, क्या रिफ़ंड का प्रोसेस होगा, तो वो यहाँ से कोई आंसर नहीं मिल रहा है। और लोग बोल रहे हैं कि अगर आप हमको तो कोई दूसरी एयरलाइन से अगर भेज सकते हो तो दूसरी एयरलाइन से भेजो। तो ये एयर इंडिया वाले के जो स्टाफ है वो बता रहे हैं कि अभी कोई दूसरी एयरलाइंस हमारा हाथ पकड़ने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। यह ट्रेजिक इंसिडेंट हुआ है इसलिए हमारे पैसेंजर्स को एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। और जब पूछ रहे हैं कि कल अभी दूसरा फ्लाइट कब टेक ऑफ करने वाले, तो वो बोल रहे हैं कि 11:40 मॉर्निंग को टेक ऑफ करेगा, बट उसका भी कोई श्योरिटी नहीं है।
Well, in fact, these are a few voices that we are getting for you from the passengers, the flight which has been cancelled. We will be giving you minute-to-minute update from the Ahmedabad Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Airport, where a flight which was going from Ahmedabad to London has been cancelled. Stay tuned with Republic TV. We will be back after a short commercial break.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
पंद्रह साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे।
हाँ।
तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया।
कहाँ से? अहमदाबाद की प्रॉपर रहने वाले?
नहीं, वो एक्चुअली रहते हैं हम लोग बॉम्बे है क्या।
हाँ।
और वाया फ्लाइट था।
हाँ।
तो बॉम्बे से यहाँ आए थे, यहाँ से हम लोग को उनको लंदन जाना था।
हाँ।
यूके जाना था।
तो उसमें छोटी बच्ची भी थी, मतलब कितनी उम्र के लोग थे? उनकी उम्र क्या थी?
वो एक की 4 है और एक की शायद मेरे ख्याल से 8 है। 4 या 6 ऐसा कुछ है लड़की की।
कब से रह रहे थे, क्या करते थे वहाँ पे?
होटल मैनेजमेंट का को ये था उनका जॉब। और 15 साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
US moves 30 Air Force bomber aircrafts closer to Europe. Engine snag in San Francisco to Mumbai Air India flight. Another Ranchi-bound Air India Express flight diverted after technical issues. Prime Minister Modi reaches Canada to attend the G7 summit. Israel-Iran escalation overshadows G7. Joint statement says Iran can never have nuke. Trump contradicts Macron's statement on Israel-Iran ceasefire, says Macron has no idea why he cut short his G7 visit. Trump hints at something bigger than the ceasefire. MA issues the advisory for Indian students in Iran. Evacuation of 10,000 Indian students in Tehran begins. Batch of 100 Indian students being evacuated through Armenia. An Indigo flight 602706 from Muscat to Kochi, Delhi made an emergency landing at Nagpur airport after a bomb threat was received. All passengers have been deboarded. The investigation is underway, noting something suspicious has not been found so far. This is what the DCP there is saying, Nagpur. So this is the update coming in where we see this is the Indigo flight, by the way. It has deboarded. All passengers have been deboarded after a bomb threat was received. Investigation is underway. So far, nothing suspicious has been found inside that plane. The pictures coming in of the plane, first on Republic TV. Indigo is making an emergency landing. You can see the plane there. It has deboarded. This plane was on its way from Muscat, Kochi and Delhi. That was a route that this plane was taken. And as we keep getting our viewers more updates, let's tell you that this plane right now has been deboarded. This is a Kochi-Delhi Indigo flight making an emergency landing in Nagpur after a bomb threat. No suspicious items have been found so far. This is the Indigo flight operating on the Muscat-Kochi-Delhi route, making an emergency landing at Nagpur after a bomb threat was reported. But let's go to Akansha, who's joining us right now. Akansha, all passengers deboarded. Thankfully, nothing suspicious has been found so far. This is what the DCP there is saying. Yes, over to you, Akansha. What do we know so far?
Absolutely, Shivangi. What we're learning so far is that nothing suspicious has been found. As far as this bomb threat is concerned, what we're learning is that this Delhi-bound Indigo flight was, in fact, it left from Kochi. It was on the way to the national capital when it made an emergency landing in Nagpur because of a bomb threat. We don't have details about what this bomb threat was, but as per the Cochin International Airport is concerned, they have informed that nothing suspicious has been found so far. They have issued a statement. Let me quote them. A bomb threat was received with regard to an Indigo flight which arrived from Muscat and departed for Delhi, prompting it to make an emergency landing at Nagpur airport for undergoing operations. What we're learning is that this bomb threat was received from on the official email ID about the Indigo flight which departed for Delhi with 157 passengers and 6 crew at 9:31 a.m. in the morning. And after that, a bomb threat assessment committee, which is BTAC, was convened and the threat was declared as specific, but nothing so far has been found. So what we know so far is that this threat was given through the email. Nothing suspicious has been found so far. Passengers have been reboarded. This flight has been sent to a safer place and the inspection of this flight is underway, Shivangi.
That is right. Thank you for joining us there, Akansha, with all those details. We see that this is the Indigo flight operating on the Muscat-Kochi-Delhi route, making an emergency landing at Nagpur. And from what we understand so far, all the passengers were safely deboarded following the emergency landing. A thorough investigation was immediately launched by the airport security and bomb disposal teams. All right, let's go to the next big update we're getting for our viewers. Now we have one more Air India flight which was cancelled. Yet another Air India flight from Ahmedabad to London has been forced to be cancelled due to a technical snag. Air India flight number AI 159 Boeing 788 scheduled to take off from Ahmedabad for London at around 1:10 p.m. has been cancelled due to a technical snag. That is right. We're still trying to get our viewers more updates on what really happened so far, but the passengers are stranded in Ahmedabad, and we see Gopi. Okay, let's go to Gopi. Yes, Gopi is there with the passengers, and Gopi, you were talking about this a short while back. This is a flight which has been cancelled. Ahmedabad to London flight cancelled, but the question is, What about the passengers?
Well, in fact, this is about the AI 159, which was about to start from Ahmedabad and land in London. We are joined by, in fact, a few passengers. Sir, आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम अनिरुद्ध सिंह झाला, एडवोकेट, मेंबर बार काउंसिल ऑफ गुजरात।
क्या आप ये फ्लाइट में ट्रैवल करने वाले थे?
यस, आज मैं लंदन जाने वाला था, हमारे यहाँ लीगल कॉन्फ्रेंस है, तो मैंने टिकट आज 10 बजे की थी, मैं 9 बजे यहाँ टाइम सर आ गया। बीच में मैसेज आया था कि 2 घंटा लेट है, मगर तो भी मैं टाइम सर आ गया। यहाँ आया तो बोला कि आज की फ़्लाइट कैंसिल है।
और आपको वो रीज़न क्या बता रहे हैं, क्यों कैंसिल?
पहले तो रीज़न कोई बताया नहीं, मगर मैंने थोड़ा सा किया कि कोई रीज़न तो चाहिए, तो उसने बोला कि यहाँ से लंदन से आने वाली फ़्लाइट डिले है, शाम को आएगी, और शाम को जो यहाँ से लंदन जाएगी तो रात को लंदन में लैंड नहीं होती, इसलिए वो कैंसिल होगी। आपको कल 11:40 बजे की टिकट हम ट्रांसफ़र कर देंगे, ऐसे बोलता है।
रद्द होगी तो अगर रिफ़ंड की बात करें तो उन्होंने कुछ बोला है, रिफ़ंड वगैरह देंगे आपको कि नहीं?
नहीं, वो बोला था कि किसी को जो रिफ़ंड चाहिए तो आपको यहाँ से मेरे को काउंटर के ऊपर इन्फॉर्म कर दो, और जो किसी को 24 घंटा ठहरना है तो भी मेरे को इन्फॉर्म कर दो, मगर सभी पैसेंजर बहुत अभी परेशान हो गया है।
आपका कॉन्फ्रेंस है तो आप लेट नहीं होंगे उसके लिए?
तो मैंने बोला कि मैं एडवोकेट हूँ, मैं लीगल कॉन्फ्रेंस में जाने वाला हूँ, और जो ये टाइम में फेरफार आपकी वजह से हो गया, तो मैं अभी आपको नोटिस देता हूँ और कल आपको कोर्ट में मैं खड़ा कर दूँगा। तो मैंने को बोला है कि अभी आपका अरेंजमेंट कर देता हूँ, शाम को मेरे को दूसरा अरेंजमेंट कर दे जाए, ऐसा मेरे को आश्वासन दिया है।
क्या आप सोच रहे हैं कोई लीगल एक्शन लेने का?
हाँ, जो मेरे को तो परेशानी पड़ेगी, और कोई पैसेंजर भी मेरे पास जो आएगा तो मैं उसके ऊपर लीगल एक्शन अवश्य लूँगा, वो मेरा फ़र्ज है।
ये वी हैव वन मोर पैसेंजर हु इज जॉइनिंग अस। आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम सावन बारोड है।
और आप भी यही फ्लाइट में ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं?
हाँ जी, मैं यही फ्लाइट में ट्रैवल करने वाला था।
क्या आप पहली बार जा रहे हैं कि वहीं के हैं?
मेरा 5 और 6 बार है, 6 बार ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ ऑलरेडी। मतलब
ऐसा हुआ है पहले कभी?
ऐसा तो पहले कभी हुआ नहीं है, ये मेरा खुद के एक्सपीरियंस में ये पहली बार है। ये
आपको क्या रीज़न बताया इन्होंने कि कैंसिल क्यों हुई?
मैंने पूछा, अंदर क्रू मेंबर को पूछा जाके कि क्या रीज़न है, तो उन्होंने बोला कि अभी वी डोंट नो, राइट। उन्होंने ऐसा मुझे आंसर दिया, वी डोंट नो सर, व्हाट्स द प्रॉपर रीज़न अबाउट दैट। मैंने कहा भाई ये मतलब ये कोई बात नहीं है। मैंने उनसे पूछा कि ये ऐसी बात, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, अगर वेदर का कुछ है तो आप बताओ हमें, तो हमें कुछ हम अपने फैमिली को इन्फॉर्म करें कि इसकी वजह से फ़्लाइट डिले है। फिर एक घंटे बाद उन्होंने डिक्लेयर किया अंदर कि भाई फ़्लाइट कैंसिल है, अभी नहीं, उड़ान नहीं भरेगी आज।
तो अभी आगे उन्होंने क्या बोला है? कल फ्लाइट है, ये कौन सी कब रीशेड्यूल हुई है?
कब? अभी उन्होंने अंदर बोला है कि हम आपको टुमारो की फ़्लाइट जो है 11:40 के सुबह के उसी फ्लाइट में हम आपको शिफ्ट कर देंगे।
क्या आप सब अहमदाबाद से हैं कि कहीं और से आए हैं?
हम भावनगर से आए हैं।
आप कहाँ से?
मैं पाटन से आया हूँ।
तो एक बात जानकारी के लिए ये है कि ये सब अहमदाबाद से नहीं आए। वन हैज़ कम फ्रॉम भावनगर, द अदर हैज़ कम ऑल द वे फ्रॉम पाटन। वी ऑल्सो हैव वन मोर पर्सन हु इज़ जॉइनिंग। ही इज़ द रिलेटिव ऑफ वन ऑफ द पर्सन्स हु वाज गोइंग टू ट्रैवल इन दिस फ्लाइट। आपका कौन ट्रैवल कर रहा था ये फ्लाइट?
ये मेरे जमाई हैं और मेरी बेटी, ये दोनों आज ट्रैवल करने वाले। मेरी बेटी फर्स्ट टाइम जा रही है आज। हम यहाँ करीबन 20 लोग उसको छोड़ने आए हैं। हम यहाँ टाइम पे आ गए, हम सुबह से यहाँ आ गए, अंदर गए, अभी कुछ आ रहा है, कोई अलग अलग आदमी सिक्योरिटी गार्ड वगैरह बोल रहे हैं कैंसिल है, अंदर कोई नहीं बोल रहा है। ये लोग अंदर चेकिंग में भी गए, लास्ट टेबल तक गए, वहाँ जाके ये बोल रहे हैं कि भाई फ़्लाइट कैंसिल है। और मुझे अभी भी पता चला है कि जब से ये प्लेन क्रैश हुआ है उसके बाद लंदन की एक भी फ़्लाइट गई ही नहीं है। तो फिर ये लोग टिकट क्यों बार बार दे रहे हैं, पता ही नहीं चल रहा है ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं। अरे बोल दो, कितने लोग यहाँ आ रहे हैं, परेशान हो रहे हैं। और ये बारिश का माहौल, मैं भावनगर से हूँ।
मैं वही बोल रही हूँ, आप भावनगर से हैं, ये पाटन से हैं। अब आप मुझे ये बताइए, अगर ये फ़्लाइट कल के लिए रीशेड्यूल भी होती है तो क्या अकोमोडेशन वगैरह एयर इंडिया प्रोवाइड कर रही है? आप लोग रुकेंगे कहाँ? क्योंकि अगर कल दिन की फ़्लाइट होगी तो आना भी मुश्किल होगा, बारिश का मौसम है, उस तरफ तो फ्लड लाइक कंडीशंस भी हैं, तो इसमें आप क्या करेंगे?
अभी हमारे पास और कोई चारा नहीं है, हमें यहाँ रुकना ही पड़ेगा। एकोमोडेशन की जो बात की है वो ओनली फॉर टिकट पर्सन की है। जितना टिकट है, जिसके पास पासपोर्ट टिकट है उसको ही मिलेगा, उसके कोई भी कलीग या कोई भी है उसको कोई किसी को भी नहीं मिलेगा। कई लोग ऐसे भी है, बूढ़े बुजुर्ग भी है जिनके साथ कोई नहीं है, वो छोड़ने आए एक आदमी को, तो वो कहाँ जाएंगे?
So these are the voices that we are getting. आपका कौन ट्रैवल कर रहा है? क्या आप खुद ट्रैवल कर रही हैं?
नहीं, भाई ट्रैवल कर रहा है।
कौन ट्रैवल कर रहा है?
भाई।
अच्छा।
भाई और भाभी दोनों की फ्लाइट थी, वो सब जा रहे थे। हम रात को 3 बजे से उठ के आए, क्योंकि
कहाँ से आए हैं?
राधनपुर।
अच्छा, राधनपुर।
हाँ।
तो अभी आपको इन लोगों ने क्या बोला, रीज़न क्या बोला, फ्लाइट क्यों कैंसिल हुई है?
अंदर तो पता ही नहीं था उन लोगों को, वो तो वेट ही कर रहे थे कि अभी हमारा लगेज जाएगा, हम बैठे ये वो। बाहर सिक्योरिटी गार्ड ने इन्फॉर्म किया कि भाई ऐसे ऐसे फ्लाइट डिले हो रही है। हम कॉल करके उनको पूछ रहे, उनको पता ही नहीं अंदर की क्या चल रहा है।
तो क्या बोला है, अभी रीशेड्यूल की है कि अभी वो भी कंफर्म नहीं?
रीशेड्यूल करेंगे तो भी ये कंपनसेशन वाला तो कोई सीन नहीं है ना। अभी देखिए ये सर है, इनकी कॉन्फ्रेंस है, वो रुक गई। भाई भाभी को जाना था, वो रुक गए। अब वो उनके पास तो यूँ नहीं ना कि वहाँ वैकेशन करने जा रहे हैं, उनका भी काम धंधा है, कुछ ना कुछ है, तो उनमें डिले नहीं होगा। कितना कॉम्पनसेशन देंगे ये लोग सबको? ये कोई वैलिड नहीं। आपको करनी कैंसिल है तो पहले बता दो, अंदर जाने ही मत दो। तो हम सबको अभी हम लोगों का ऐसा है कि चलो हम एक कार मतलब बोलते हैं ना, ऊबर करके आए थे, ठीक है। अब वो उनको हम भेज दिए वापस कि भाई चलो रिलेटिव था, बोले कि आप चले जाओ, हम अपने हिसाब से देख लें, क्योंकि अब लगेज तो लेके जाना नहीं है। अब वो भाई चला गया था नंदासन, हमने उनको वहाँ से रिटर्न बोला। कंपनसेशन देंगे, कितना देंगे ये लोग?
तो आप क्या एयर इंडिया को क्वेश्चन करेंगे? आप करिए एयर इंडिया को क्वेश्चन।
उनको खुद को शर्म आनी चाहिए कि भाई हम क्या कर रहे हैं। क्वेश्चन करने उनको आंसर ही नहीं पता, क्वेश्चन करके क्या करें? कैंसिल हुई, हमने बोला कि भाई क्या सीन है, तो बोल रहा है कि हमें नहीं पता। हम बोल रहे हैं वो हाँ में हाँ कर रहे हैं, मतलब कि क्या चल क्या रहा है जो हाँ में हाँ कर रहे हैं? बातचीत तो नहीं चल रही जो आप हाँ में हाँ करो, क्वेश्चन आंसर दो।
Well, Shivangi, these are the voices that we are getting from you from the Ahmedabad airport. While there are a few passengers, while there are others who are the relatives of these passengers, and when you speak of these passengers' urgency, one is going for a law conference. Imagine he is going to miss out on his conference, while he has also said that he might take a legal action if Air India does not respond to his questions. While we saw how others were also willing to reach there on time, as there are a few people who are working there in London, and this is the anguish of people, voices of people that we are getting for you from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad. Back to you.
That's right, Gopi. So we see those pictures coming in. The Air India flight cancelled. You can see the passengers stranded, looking for answers. And this is not just one case, there are multiple cases. One emergency landing has been made and one Air India flight has been halted, all of it coming back to back and on the same day in the last 24 hours. So what you see on your screens is yet another Air India flight from Ahmedabad to London, which has been forced to be cancelled due to a technical snag. Air India flight number AI 159, a Boeing 788, scheduled to take off from Ahmedabad to London at 1:10 p.m. has been cancelled due to a technical snag. And there are similar incidents which have been reported from Nagpur and Kolkata. So all three pictures are on your screen. One is this, the middle one is an Indigo flight operating on the Muscat Kochi Delhi route, which made an emergency landing at Nagpur airport early in the morning. All right, let's move ahead right now, because like we were telling our viewers, an Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai through Kolkata was a stopover, suffered a technical snag, and this happened in one of its engines, requiring passengers to be deplaned once again during a scheduled halt at the city airport early flight. It was a very early morning flight. It arrived on time at the city airport early in the morning, but a technical snag in the left engine delayed the takeoff. An announcement was made in the aircraft asking all the passengers to deplane. The captain of the plane told the passengers that the decision was being made in the interest of the flight safety. Another incident has come to the fore where Air India Express Ranchi-bound flight was diverted back to Delhi after facing a technical snag. Okay, so you can see the two flights that we have been talking about. One is the Air India flight AI 180 and Air India Express flight. Both of them have have been not been able to take off or were grounded or had to return due to technical issue which were found on that plane. We'll try to go across to our colleague in just a short while from now. And we have Iona joining us from our newsroom to help us understand more on the story. Now, Iona, you know, already Air India is being scanned very closely because a probe has been ordered to have a look at its fleets, its operations, its SOPs, its systems. But at the same time, we saw Indigo flight as well, which had to, we saw that this Indigo flight had to make an emergency landing in Nagpur. But my question to you is, and if you could take our viewers through this, the issue is passenger safety right now. And passengers and whoever takes a flight, and in fact, our entire nation cannot afford putting our own citizens' lives at risks when they board a plane, whether to travel in India or travel abroad.
Absolutely, Shivangi. You've pointed out what we're trying to really focus on over here. It's not just about Air India or Indigo, it's about passenger safety overall across all airlines. And over the last 5 days, especially in the aftermath of that tragic AI-171 crash, we've seen a number of incidents, and the spotlight is back on just how much accountability and responsibility are these airlines willing to take. In fact, as we speak, there are about 200 passengers who are currently stranded at Kolkata airport after a Mumbai-San Francisco flight was it landed in Kolkata for a routine check, after which passengers were left in the lurch. They've now been deplaned, and then they've been told that they have absolutely no clarity on when the when the flight will take off for Mumbai, and the airline has is yet to answer on how they are willing to address these technical issues. Now, parallelly in Ahmedabad, a London-bound AI-159 flight has absolutely been cancelled. In fact, we've heard those passenger accounts that Gopi, our colleague, was bringing us a while back on how the airline has given them absolutely no clarity on when the flights will take off, what are the alternative arrangements, and if the passengers are going to get any refunds at all. So, Shivangi, the question is really not just about the airlines complying with DGCA standards and enhancing their safety checks, but also taking some amount of responsibility and getting over this casual attitude that we have seen over the past few days.
That's right. Iona getting us all these updates coming in. Iona, you know, before I let you go, I also want to help our viewers understand that the centre has taken steps to review the airline safety. And in fact, the centre has created a panel. The DGCA is also probing issues of passenger safety, coordinating with international airlines as well. So there is a SOP which has been put in place. There will be a report which will be made, and there will be a review done of passenger safety. Iona.
Absolutely, Shivangi. In fact, it was Union Civil Aviation Minister Rammohan Naidu who addressed a press conference just a few days ago, and he made it very clear that passenger safety is paramount, and this is something that the airlines must understand come what may, no matter how many technical issues they face. And while investigation continues into the AI-171 flight, there should be more action from the centre. We are expecting more high-level meetings that is to be conducted by the Civil Aviation Ministry to take into account everything that has happened over the last 3 days, and to give the citizens of India a more a kind of a safe space for them to continue their air travel, because as of this moment, as we were hearing the experiences of the passengers from Ahmedabad just a while back, they have absolutely no clarity. They've been left in the lurch, and some of them even went on to say that they would rethink before taking a flight, you know, to continue their journeys. So it only remains to be seen, Shivangi, what action is taken by the DGCA, by the BCAS and the Civil Aviation Ministry into holding all these airlines more responsible.
All right, I think we're getting some more breaking updates coming in. Hold on, Iona. One more case, Air India flight AI-143 Boeing B787 Delhi to Paris, which was scheduled, I repeat, which was scheduled for departure at 1:15 p.m. A flight is currently on hold after boarding due to a technical issue, a hydraulic leak. It looks like a hydraulic leak. This is initial updates coming in. we'll try to get our viewers more updates, but it's a hydraulic leak which was detected, and it is right now delayed. It's on hold due to technical issues. This plane was leaving from Delhi to Paris. It was scheduled to depart at 1:15 p.m. The flight is currently on hold after boarding due to technical issues or a hydraulic leak. So one more case coming in. Within the past 24 hours, viewers, we have told you about back-to-back cases of technical glitches of Air India flights making emergency landings, of being cancelled, of many other issues due to technical problems. One more Air India flight grounded due to hydraulic leak, putting the focus back when it comes to passenger safety. And already we know that Air India is under the scanner after back-to-back incidents of passenger safety being compromised. All right, back to updates coming in right now, viewers on Republic TV, and this is an Air India flight. It's a Delhi to Paris flight which is right now grounded. It's on hold after a technical issue was reported in this flight. Air India flights are being scanned very closely, and Air India has also gone ahead and issued a travel advisory a couple of days ago. However, from their side, it looks like that the technical issues are not stopping at all, and it's risking the passenger safety. So let's talk a little bit more about the other technical issues which were found. This is Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai through Kolkata suffered a technical snag, and now we see that Air India flight from Delhi to Paris, which was scheduled for departure at 1:15 p.m. The flight is now currently on hold after boarding due to technical issue. Okay, we have to take a short break right now. Matsu coming right up. We are live and breaking. The United States moves 30 Air Force bombers aircraft closer to Europe. Plus, Prime Minister Modi reaches Canada to attend the G7 summit. Stay tuned. We are live and breaking.
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबां में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबां केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. And yes, you are sorry, say again. With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. And yes, you are maintain passion level advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong. Able right turn right now in the 315.
I have seen what it takes to report from the front lines. Accuracy, courage, urgency and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It is not theory. It is live learning from inside a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, Republic School of Journalism is where you begin. Course begins on the 30th of June. Apply now.
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबां में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबां कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबां कैसी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिर्फ जल जीरा मसाला।
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की देगी मीरज,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मीरज।
Vande Mataram. My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora and I am Special Advisor in some African countries. We are going to talk today about an issue that is exercising a lot of minds, and I read a lot of stuff in the Indian and international media about the challenge that India's diplomacy faces because of the conflict between Israel and Iran, both friends of India. Let me set this in perspective. We never allow our relationship with any one country to determine our relationship with another country. Chanakya had said something very interesting 2,400 years ago, that my enemy's enemy can be my friend. He did not say that my friend's enemy must also be my enemy. We are friends with both. We compartmentalize our relationship. As far as Israel is concerned, the relationship has a very strong defense component. It has a very strong agricultural component and education and high technology. With Iran, we were major importers of oil, but because of American pressure and sanctions, we do not import oil from Iran at the moment. So that can be ruled out.
कायदा जवाब तलब किया कि संभवतः शायद 91 में 73 जातियां मुस्लिम समाज की थी। राहुल गांधी और इंडी गठबंधन वाले इस पे जवाब क्यों नहीं देते? और आपको एक बड़ा मजेदार तथ्य बताऊं कि जब ओबीसी कमीशन ने उनसे पूछा कि ये इतना कैसे हो गए, तो उन्होंने कहा कन्वर्ट होने से पहले ये इस जाति के थे तो इसमें हो गए। अब आप एक और बात सुनिए, उसमें यह भी कहा गया बंगाल में, भाई तो फिर इतनी भारी मात्रा में कन्वर्जन कैसे हो गया? तो चुप हो गए। मगर एक और मजेदार बात, अभी जो लेटेस्ट चेंज किया है पश्चिम बंगाल की कैबिनेट ने, उसने संभवतः 141 जातियों को उसमें डाल दिया है। अब मजे की बात क्या है, हिंदू समाज में 71 जातियां हैं एज पर वेस्ट बंगाल, और मुस्लिम समाज में 100 से अधिक ओबीसी जातियां हैं। भाई अगर कन्वर्ट होने से पहले थे 71, तो ये कन्वर्ट होने के बाद 71 से ज्यादा कैसे हो गए? यह साफ दर्शा रहा है कि आरक्षण के नाम पर वोट बैंक की राजनीति करके पिछले दरवाजे के द्वारा पिछड़े वर्ग के आरक्षण में सेंध ही नहीं लगाना, जिसे कहते हैं ना पूरी की पूरी दीवार ढहा देने का काम इंडी गठबंधन की सरकारों के द्वारा किया जा रहा है। इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमारी एनडीए की सरकार ने जो एक सकारात्मक निर्णय लिया है, उसके द्वारा होने वाले इस सकारात्मक पक्ष को वो स्वीकार करने को तैयार नहीं रह रहे हैं। वैसे कर्नाटक में सर्वे में उन्होंने 165 करोड़ रुपए लगाए हैं और आप कह रहे हैं रीसर्वे कराएंगे। और याद करिए, कर्नाटक के डिप्टी सीएम मात्र साल भर पहले की बात है, यह भी बोल चुके थे कि सर्वे जारी नहीं होने दूंगा। यह ऑन रिकॉर्ड दिया गया बयान था, वहां खुद ही घमासान हो रहा था। तो अब पहले मैं उनसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपने कर्नाटक में सर्वेक्षण कराया तो पहले गलत कराया था क्या, या फिर रीसर्वे क्यों करवा रहे हैं? अब तेलंगाना में कह रहे हैं कि करवाएंगे फिर से। और तेलंगाना में जो आपने सर्वेक्षण कराया है उससे जो अनुपात निकल के आया, मैं राहुल गांधी से सीधा पूछना चाहता हूं, उस अनुपात में मंत्रिमंडल में परिवर्तन किया कि नहीं? आज सबसे ज्यादा ओबीसी मंत्री मोदी जी की सरकार में हैं। मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, तेलंगाना में कितने ओबीसी मंत्री हैं? और मैं राहुल गांधी जी से यह भी पूछना चाहता हूं और कांग्रेस पार्टी से कि 2014 में जब डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी की सरकार ने इस्तीफा दिया, कितने ओबीसी मंत्री थे? 2-3 भी नहीं थे पूरी कैबिनेट में। इसलिए इससे बहुत साफ हो जाता है कि इनका उद्देश्य समाज के अंदर भ्रम पैदा करना और अपने परिवार के हाथ में सत्ता रखना है। चूंकि वह उद्देश्य बिखरता हुआ नजर आ रहा है, इसलिए इस प्रकार के प्रपंच, झूठ और मिथ्या प्रचार का सहारा लिया जा रहा है।
We have a breaking news coming in for you. Another Air India Boeing 787 aircraft operating from the national capital to Dubai AI 915, which was to depart at 4:50 p.m. in the evening, and return time of the departure from Dubai stands cancelled for the day. This is in fact another Air India technical snag that has come to the fore, the third one in the last few hours. In fact, in the last 12 hours, this is the third technical snag in the Air India flight. All right, so this is another Air India Boeing 787 aircraft operating from Delhi to Dubai, which has been cancelled. And this is shocking because just a while back what we learned is that another Air India flight, AI 143 Boeing 787 Delhi to Paris, which was to depart at 1:15 p.m. in the afternoon, and that was also put on hold because of the technical issue as far as the hydraulic leak is concerned. And just few hours before that, another Air India flight from Ahmedabad to London was cancelled due to the technical snag, and that was Boeing 788 AI 159. Let me go across to my colleague Madhurima, who joins us from the newsroom. Madhurima, back to back we are seeing technical snags as far as Air India is concerned, not just one but multiple in the last 24 hours.
Well, absolutely, Akanksha. What needs to be seen here is that in less than 24 hours, this is the fifth incident coming in from Air India. And in this particular incident, it's a 787 Boeing, which is under the scanner for multiple technical snags, especially ever since that crash that took place in Ahmedabad. What needs to be seen here is that the past few days have been exemplary embarrassing for Air India, though they have been issuing very AI-generated, very typical statements for a very long time, but there has been no concrete reason given on the part of Air India as to why these multiple delays. We just spoke to multiple passengers as well there in Ahmedabad, where a flight, yet another flight got cancelled and of Air India, and just in few minutes that of that flight being cancelled in Ahmedabad, we have yet another incident. It appears like Air India is going all down south. Akanksha, the details as to why this flight was cancelled is yet to be ascertained. We'll bring that as well for viewers.
Absolutely big embarrassment for Air India since morning. Not just one but three incidents have come to the fore as far as technical snag is concerned. Madhurima, has any reaction, any statement, be it templated statement, come from Air India so far?
No, Kanksha, no early statement has come from the side of Air India. But remember, even when Air India is issuing statement, they are issuing that templated statement that they send out every time. But nothing seems to be improving, because we've seen multiple cancellations, multiple technical snags, and in just less than 24 hours, this is the fifth case pertaining to Air India where a flight either has been cancelled or delayed, or there were technical snags. So it appears like Air India has multiple issues that they need to deal with, Akanksha.
Absolutely. Madhurima, keep tracking those details for us. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Very shocking news, in fact, coming in that back to back we are seeing that Air India Boeing 787 are being cancelled or put on hold. Now we are shifting our focus to the plane crash tragedy that took place on June 12th. Students jump off buildings to escape. Now video has gone viral, and let us show you the video. In fact, the Ahmedabad plane crash incident was marked by a massive explosion and a terrible fire. Video of the incident are coming out one after the another. Students and staff jumped off the unbelievable building to escape the fire caused by the plane crash. Heartbreaking videos from the scene have gone viral on social media, as well as you can see in the visuals there. Students, teachers jumping off that building after plane crashed in the vicinity of that area. Very disturbing visuals of people trying to save their life. Clearly had happened.
नहीं पड़ा नहीं पड़ा
Let me go across to my colleague Gopi, who joins us from Ahmedabad and who's been tracking this story very closely. Gopi, we have the visuals on the screen right here of students jumping off. First, give us clarity. How far was this building from the place where the crash took place? Tell us about this incident.
Well, in fact, Akanksha, see, if you understand that very site, there were 6 different buildings in the same vicinity of that campus of BJ Medical Hostel. The first hostel was Atulyam Hostel, where the plane crashed. This is the 4th building in that same row, where students are, we can see in that video that students are jumping off the building to save their lives. Now, the 4th, 5th and 6th buildings were not as affected as the 1st and 2nd buildings were. But yes, obviously, the fear, the trauma and the, in fact, voice of that plane crash was horrendous, and precisely why students would have decided to save their life and to jump off that building. As you can see in that video, that was a horrific incident. But yes, let's tell our viewers that the first building, which was the Atulyam building hostel of BJ Medical, there were around 156 students, out of which 50 to 60 were having their meals in the ground floor of that particular building, where the roof fell on those 50 to 60 students. And as per the JDA, which is the Juniors Doctors Association, only 4 students have lost their lives, while 11 were rescued from that very site. But as you can see, this is the 4th building in that same row from the crash site, where students are jumping off the building to save their life. Back to you.
Absolutely, very disturbing video coming to the fore, and we can see the panic on their faces. As my colleague Gopi has been mentioning, that is the 4th building near the vicinity where the crash took place. The plane crashed on the BJ Medical College. 4 people lost their life. In fact, we have another breaking news coming in. As far as Air India is concerned, Air India flight AI-143 Boeing B787 Delhi to Paris, which was to depart at 1:15 p.m. Just a while back. The flight is currently on hold after boarding due to the technical issue. What we know so far is hydraulic leak. This flight, Paris-bound Boeing, got cancelled. Another technical snag, as far as Air India is concerned, has come to the fore. As my colleagues have been mentioning, this is the 5th incident in the last 24 hours. 5 flights so far have witnessed the technical snag, and right now we are telling you about Air India flight AI-143 Boeing 787. Remember, Boeing 787 Dreamliner, a different flight a few days back, crashed in Ahmedabad, leading to loss of life as far as 241 people are concerned. Another Boeing 787 operated by Air India AI-143 from Delhi to Paris, which was to depart at 1:15 p.m. that has been cancelled, and the reason is the hydraulic leak. Very concerning news, and no response whatsoever till now in the last 24 hours from Air India. All right, so this is the breaking news that we are getting for you. Just a while back, we told you about another incident related to Air India, where the Ahmedabad to London flight got cancelled. The reason that was given to the commuters and the passengers there was of a technical glitch. Another Air India incident, AI-143 Boeing 787. This was going from the national capital to Paris, and this has also been cancelled. So in the last 24 hours, 5 such incidents. In the last 4-5 hours, I can tell you that Air India flight from Ahmedabad to London was cancelled because of technical glitch. Then Air India flight from Delhi to Paris again cancelled because of technical glitch, that is a hydraulic leak. And now Delhi to Dubai flight was also cancelled because of the same reason. Let me now again bring in my colleague Madhurima. Madhurima, we've been speaking about the technical glitch. No response whatsoever from Air India in the last 24 hours. 5 incidents have taken place. Another incident has come to the fore. AI-143 Boeing 787. Again, that same Dreamliner, Delhi to Paris, has been cancelled, and the reason again is technical snag. Give us more details on this.
Well, absolutely, Akansha. What needs to be underlined here is it's yet another hydraulic leak. And remember, Akansha, that this was one of the issues that that was highlighted by Boeing whistleblower earlier as well, where he went on to say that the maintenance in the past couple of decades has reduced in Boeing. And also remember, he had highlighted that that he is aware of the fact that a lot of pressure is being put by the Boeing staff to manually make these parts work. He had seen people jumping on those parts, Akansha, to make them fit. So after such statements that were made by the whistleblower in front of the US Senate, and now the way the situation with Air India is unraveling, Akansha, what needs to be seen here is one after another, whatever claims that whistleblower had made are coming to be true, and yet another hydraulic leak. And this would be the 6th incident in less than 24 hours. An embarrassing day for Air India, as this yet another flight has been put on hold. Interestingly, once again, it is a 787 Boeing Dreamliner. Akansha.
Absolutely. 787 Boeing Dreamliner was the one which suffered that tragic incident just 6 days back, and now we are seeing back-to-back technical snags despite being alerted by the whistleblower too last year. Now, West Asia is on the edge again. Ambassador Deepak Vora explains India's balanced stance on Israel-Iran conflict. With strong ties to both the nation, India promotes dialogue and diplomacy without choosing sides. He highlights India's strategic autonomy, its role as a voice for the global south, and the importance of peace in the global affairs. Have a look at this report.
Vande Mataram. My name is Ambassador Deepak Vora, and I am Special Advisor in some African countries. We are going to talk today about an issue that is exercising a lot of minds, and I read a lot of stuff in the Indian and international media about the challenge that India's diplomacy faces because of the conflict between Israel and Iran, both friends of India. Let me set this in perspective. We never allow our relationship with any one country to determine our relationship with another country. Chanakya had said something very interesting 2,400 years ago, that my enemy's enemy can be my friend. He did not say that my friend's enemy must also be my enemy. We are friends with both. We compartmentalize our relationship. As far as Israel is concerned, the relationship has a very strong defense component. It has a very strong agricultural component, and education, and high technology. With Iran, we were major importers of oil, but because of American pressure and sanctions, we do not import oil from Iran at the moment. So that can be ruled out. Anybody who says that we're not going to be able to get oil from Iran and oil prices in India therefore will rise as a result of that is talking nonsense. Essentially, I'm sorry to be rough, but that doesn't make any sense. However, the Chabahar port, which we have invested in and which was to provide an alternative route to Central Europe and beyond, bypassing Atankistan. Now that is a major issue. Nevertheless, some time ago there was an attack on the port. Some people, some Baloch rebels or some others attacked the port. There were some people who died. Nevertheless, it bounced back. As far as the present conflict is concerned, we've made it clear to all concerned that this is not a way out. When the Israeli Prime Minister spoke to his Indian counterpart, and they respect each other enormously, we said very clearly that we have to find a solution through dialogue and diplomacy. And since we know both, if you would like us to help in any way, it doesn't mean mediation. That's a very dangerous term. But we are ready to talk to both sides and say, okay, tigers, it's time for you to cool down. So, as far as Iran is concerned, we are not going to dilute our relationship because of Israel. As far as Israel is concerned, we are not going to compromise our relationship with Israel because of Iran. Now, those who understand this about India have understood the essence of Indian diplomacy, which is the best in the world. Take it from me, Chanakya had said, the first thing for any nation to be a great power, and he was talking 2,400 years ago. First is leadership. We have the best in the world. And second, it's influence that comes through its diplomacy. Here again, we have the best diplomacy in the world. I have been in diplomacy 52 years and counting. I'm 74 years young. Let me assure you, I've never seen this kind of cohesion as far as our diplomatic efforts are concerned than I am seeing now. It's no longer just the Ministry of External Affairs, or it's no longer the other ministries. It's no longer all of government. It's an all of people approach. And today I find, as the Prime Minister had said, there should be Jan Bhagdari in diplomacy. I find that the people are very interested in what India is doing and its reputation overseas. Let me also tell you that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to attend the G7 meeting. Of course, the Israel-Iran issue will be discussed at this meeting in Canada, but the Prime Minister has also made it clear that he will be representing the voice of what we refer to as the Global South. 125 countries. No one listens to them. He will be their ambassador. This is the strength of Indian diplomacy. When we speak to the world, it's not just as Bharat. We're also speaking on behalf of another 125 countries. And I conclude by saying that on my WhatsApp group, an American general, a former general, we have a large group, academics, professors, we have military people, I have Congress people all across the world. One of them sent me a message saying, Mr. Ambassador, the Iran-Israel conflict can either be resolved bilaterally or with the intervention of one of the four superpowers of the world. Listen to this carefully. He said, of course, the United States is very partisan, so nobody will listen to them. Russia is involved in Ukraine, so that dilutes its credibility. Nobody trusts China. That's number 3. He said that leaves one superpower that everybody respects, and he used the name Bharat. I can tell you that I'm 6'2". At that moment, I stood 6 feet 8 inches tall. All I'll say is, we will find a solution. We will help. They have to resolve it bilaterally, but we are ready to do what we can. India's target is a developed nation by 2047. We would like to achieve that. We don't want the world to be in conflict, the world to be in war. We want a peaceful world that helps everybody, including India. Thank you for your attention.
We have another breaking news coming in. Indigo Goa-Delhi flight 6E6811, which took off from Goa on Monday 16 June at 4 p.m. experienced major turbulence 10 minutes after the takeoff. The flight was immediately after takeoff, couldn't be balanced. And after some time, pilot managed to control the flight with the help of the air traffic controller. Major accident has been averted. This is as far as the Goa to Delhi flight is concerned. And this time the flight is of the Indigo, which took off on 16th June at 4 p.m. and experienced major turbulence 10 minutes after taking off.
After a short vacation from Goa, returning back to my 2.25 घंटे की भयानक फ्लाइट के बाद अब हम लखनऊ ऊपर वाले के एयरपोर्ट से लैंड कर चुके हैं। लेकिन आपको ये बता दूं कि जब ये जो फ्लाइट है 6C6811 ये गोवा से लखनऊ डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट है और ये 2.25 घंटे की फ्लाइट है। लेकिन जैसे ही ये फ्लाइट टेक ऑफ करी, ये पूरे की पूरी फ्लाइट ऊपर से नीचे अपसाइड डाउन आ गई। शायद ये वो महसूस कर सकते थे जो एयर इंडिया अहमदाबाद में क्रैश हुई है, उसके पैसेंजर्स महसूस कर सकते थे। आज हमने वही मौत का मंजर में।
With this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, United States moved 30 Air Force bomber aircraft closer to Europe. We'll also tell you about Prime Minister's arrival in Canada. He will be attending the G7 summit. We'll tell you about these two stories and much more after this very short break. Stay with us.
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. NDH की वर्षा से आगे।
% ಇರಬೇಕು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಓಕೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ
This is India and we are living here. You are nobody to tell me what I have to do.
A fresh language-related confrontation has surfaced in Bengaluru, highlighting the ongoing Kannada language debate. An elderly man clashed with a woman shop owner over the compliance of the state government rules for commercial signboards. In the 44-second clip that has now gone viral, the shop owner accuses the elderly man of torture over English signboard, saying, "This is Kannada land."
ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದವನು, ಈ ನೆಲದವನು, ಕನ್ನಡ 60% ಇರಬೇಕು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಓಕೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ.
This is India and we are living here. You are nobody to tell me what I have to do.
The man then confronted her, demanding to change the signboard to comply with Kannada language rules.
This man is torturing me to change the board to Kannada. Already my board is having Kannada.
The shop owner insisted that a text in Kannada is already written on the board, but the man continues to argue that the Kannada text must cover 60% of it. The man later threatened the shop owner, saying he will file a complaint against her. In the video, the woman is also seen questioning the elderly man over his request.
Who are you to tell me?
I will public. I Karnataka.
To which he replies that he is a public citizen from Karnataka and has every right to point out the signboard. The Kannada Language Comprehensive Development Act of 2024 requires that 60% of all commercial, industrial, institutional and public signboards in Karnataka be in Kannada, which has previously sparked outrage in the state. The Act also says that the Kannada text must occupy the upper half of the board, with the remaining 40% allowed in any other language.
And with this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, United States has moved 30 Air Force bomber aircrafts closer to Europe. And Donald Trump has contradicted Macron's statement on Iran-Israel ceasefire, says that Macron has no idea on why he cut short his G7 summit visit. Trump hints at something bigger than the ceasefire. This and much more on the other side. With this, a short break.
You can see behind me the American embassy in Tel Aviv, and this is not damaged from the outside at least, but still all the places next to the embassy suffering from a damage. Here behind me is the center of Tel Aviv, and Iranian ballistic missile hit here, and the destruction is massive. Many residential buildings all over destructed, devastated, and they can collapse any moment. Iran targeting civilian areas. There are no military targets here, just regular people living here. A lot of shops destroyed and places for around 300 meters all around are destroyed.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा सिप।
विमल में गुलिस्तान की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबा केसरी।
Ini filo. Wow, bebate siku.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing each and every one.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
I have seen what it takes to report from the front lines. Accuracy, courage, urgency, and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It is not theory. It is live learning from inside a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, Republic School of Journalism is where you begin. Course begins on the 30th of June. Apply now.
Massive crisis hits Indian aviation crisis. Multiple Air India flight reports technical snag. Delhi-bound Indigo flight emergency lands in Nagpur. Passengers deplaned after the technical snag. Under 10 Indian students evacuated from Tehran amid escalation in Israel-Iran hostilities. Students across over border to Armenia. Trump contradicts Macron's statement on Israel-Iran ceasefire, says Macron has no idea what he said and why he has cut short his G7 visit. Trump hints at something bigger than the ceasefire. PM Modi in Canada to attend the G7 summit to meet Zelensky on the sidelines of the summit. We have a breaking news coming in. Israeli Air Force completes several extensive strikes on the military targets of the Iranian regime in western Iran. And during these strikes, dozens of surface-to-surface missile storages and launch infra was struck. In addition, surface-to-air missiles, launchers and UAV storage sites were also stuck in the western Iran. So as you can see in the visuals, these are the attack by the Israeli Defense Forces. All right, so as you can see in the visuals, these are in fact, this is the attack that has been done by the Israeli forces. They have destroyed Iran's military target is what we are learning. In the last 5 days, we've been seeing attack and counter-attack by both the nations. And just a while back, IDF had also issued the statement on Iran Chief of Staff Ali Shadmani also being killed. And we have another breaking for you. Iran has issued a fresh statement hours after the G7 nations slammed the country. Iran said that Israel is the main cause of instability and war in West Asia and that they have violated articles under the UN Charter. A statement that has come from Iran as far as the G7 summit is concerned. Remember, earlier in the day, the G7 nations had issued a statement. They had passed a resolution, and I quote that, "We, the leaders of G7, reiterate our commitment to peace and stability in the Middle East. In this context, we affirm that Israel has a right to defend itself. We also support for the security of Israel. We also affirm the importance of protection of civilians. Iran is the principal source of regional instability and terror." A big statement that had come from G7 countries. After that, Iran has issued a fresh statement slamming the countries. Iran said that Israel is the main cause of the instability and war in West Asia. All right, so let's now get you more visuals from across Iran and Israel. As you can see on the screen, that is the video one of IDF taking out the command centers there in Iran. Several places have been targeted by Israel in the last few days, the capital of Tehran and other places as well, the nuclear facilities and the top military commanders as well. Let's now show you another video of the Israeli attack, and this in fact is a video of Israel destroying Iran missile launch troops there. The attack by the Israeli forces of destroying the missile launch troops on the visuals right there. Let's now show you another video of Iran launching missile strike on Israel. We've been seeing attack and counter-attack by both the countries, and this is the aftermath of Iran's missile strike on Iran. Several buildings have been damaged there. We are learning that at least 10 people have also lost their life in Israel. Attack and counter-attack in the last few days. The entire region of West Asia is on the boil again. Now look at this video, the next one of Israel missiles hitting the residential building. In the last 5 days, several buildings have been hit, starting Friday when the first residential building was hit. There was a lot of chaos in Israel. In fact, the Prime Minister also visited one of the residential area to take the stock of the situation. Now look at this video, the next one of Israel missiles hitting the residential building. In the last 5 days, several buildings have been hit, starting Friday when the first residential building was hit. There was a lot of chaos in Israel. In fact, the Prime Minister also visited one of the residential area to take the stock of the situation. Now look at this video of Israel taking down Iran UAV there on the screen, and all these videos have been released by the IDF to show the damage that they have put on Iran in this conflict that is going on. Now look at this video of Israel targeting Tehran airport as well. In the last few days, Israel has targeted not just the main areas but also the nuclear facilities, the airport area as well as the military leaders as well. And that is on your screen. That is Tehran airport that was in target of Israel. Have a look at this video of Iran missile launch, troops eliminated, several, in fact, military leaders have been killed, and this is one of the videos that has been released by the Israel Defense Forces of the launch troops being destroyed. Have a look at this video of Israel annihilating Iran launch pads as well. Big attack there by Israel Defense Forces as far as the missile launch pads are also concerned. All these prominent areas in Iran have been destroyed by Israel in the last 5 days. In fact, we have breaking news coming in after French President Macron says that Trump has offered ceasefire agreement between Iran and Israel. Trump has slammed Macron, saying that he has no idea on why he is leaving early from the G7 summit. Donald Trump has denied claims of French President Macron on Iran-Israel ceasefire and hints at something bigger on the conflict. And this is what he has said after he had to leave from G7 summit, and then he posted about this on Truth Social. All right, so this is a statement that has come from Donald Trump. He has contradicted French president. Remember earlier that in the day, Donald Trump had to leave from a G7 summit. After that, French president had made a remark that the ceasefire between Iran and Israel is on the cards, after which Donald Trump has come down heavily on the French president. I'm joined by Dan Pfefferman, who joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you so much for speaking to Republic TV. What we're witnessing right now are the statements that have come from the United States. Donald Trump had to leave G7 summit. He had to move back. After that, he said that ceasefire is not on the cards, but there's something bigger. How would you assess this?
It's clear that President Trump in the United States would like to see an end to this conflict. However, they want to see it in a way that actually ends the conflict. It's clear to much of the world, certainly to the United States, the G7, really to most of the Middle Eastern countries, that Iran is the engine of instability and of radicalism and of terrorism in the region. And such an Iran, such as a regime like this, who has been constantly provoking, stoking, and been behind much of the terrorism and conflict in the Middle East and much of the radicalization around the world in recent decades, cannot be allowed to have a nuclear program. And so Macron's statement that Trump very quickly rushed to correct said ceasefire, and President Trump correctly said, no, we're not talking about a ceasefire. He hinted that we need something that actually ends Iran's nuclear program, that ends their race to the most dangerous weapon in the world. The most dangerous regime in the world cannot have the most dangerous weapon in the world. Otherwise, we will be in conflict after conflict every time the Iranians are able to reconstruct. And just as they did in the last few decades, and we saw this come to the fore on October 7th, when Iranian proxies, unprovoked, whether it's Hamas in Gaza or then Hezbollah in Lebanon or the Houthis in Yemen and other Iranian proxies in Iraq and in Syria, backed an all-out attack on Israel, a good standing member of the international community, and such a regime was on the brink of achieving a nuclear weapon. And according to Prime Minister Netanyahu, there were even intelligence reports that it wanted to transfer some of those nuclear weapons to the Houthis, who have been firing unprovoked, nonstop on Israel since October 7th. And so what we can read into President Trump's statement is that if there is a deal in which Iran truly and verifiably gives up its nuclear program, then, of course, Israel will have achieved its goal, and this escalation can stop.
Well, absolutely. It remains to be seen how this pans out in the next few days. In fact, we have these visuals of United States rushing in bomber aircrafts closer to Europe is what we are learning. These are the visuals we have for you there on the screen. Massive buildup of American air assets in the Mediterranean. You can see that is the Moro Air Base in Spain. And the shortest distance between this air base to Iran is approximately 3,700 to 4,000 kilometers. And there is a direct flight path as well. A fighter jet traveling at a typical speed of 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers per hour could never cover this. In fact, but what we are learning is that United States has rushed in bomber aircraft closer to Europe. Let me once again bring in Dan. Dan, as we were discussing about the situation in US, now what we're learning is that US has moved a lot of fighter jets toward that region. How do you assess this?
I think this is a clear message from the United States that it doesn't wish to escalate, it doesn't wish to get involved, but it's signaling to Iran that Iran better get on board and come to the table in a way that verifiably and once and for all dismantles its nuclear program. The United States and President Trump understand that this is a very dangerous regime that not only speaks in very radical terminology, but has actively been the main engine and backer ideologically, financially, militarily, strategically of radicalism in the Middle East and beyond since the inception of the Islamic Republic in 1979. The United States has so far refrained from entering this conflict, but I think it is clear that if Israel, a much smaller military, a much smaller air force, has achieved complete aerial dominance over the skies of Iran, has taken out all of Iran's air defenses, and has done significant damage to Iran's military and to Iran's nuclear program. The entrance of the most powerful military in the world, the most powerful military to ever exist, frankly, which has munitions, specifically the bunker buster munitions that Israel does not have reportedly, then that will be a major escalation that Iran, which might already be on the verge of collapse, the regime, of course, might already be on the verge of collapse. If the United States enters, this is a whole different level, and the Iranian regime will not be able to stand on its feet. I think this is a signal to the Iranian regime that they better come to the table. Until now, every time the Iranians came to the table of negotiations, it was to buy time, and they never gave any actual meaningful concessions giving up their nuclear program. The Americans mean business here, and they will take this escalation to a level that Israel cannot take it, and that the Iranians will not be able to bear.
Absolutely. Trump, as he has also stated that he has hinted at something bigger. No ceasefire between Israel and Iran yet, but something bigger. So it remains to be seen what it really is. I request you to stay on with us. In fact, we have another breaking news coming in and these visuals coming in from Tehran. In fact, what we are learning is that students there are being relocated from Tehran. Indian students in Tehran have been moved out of the city for reason of safety through arrangements made by the Indian embassy in Iran. The External Affairs Ministry has in fact stated in a statement that other residents who are self-sufficient in terms of transport have also been advised to move out of the city in view of the developing situation. There are as many as 10,000 Indians in Iran. 6,000 of them are students. So this is very important for India to move them to a safer place for their own safety, and that is why we are getting these visuals of these Indian students being moved out to a safer location, and the arrangements have been made by the Indian embassy in Iran. In fact, some Indians have been facilitated to leave Iran through the border with Armenia. And just a while back, External Affairs Minister also spoke with the Armenian counterpart on this. Let me bring in Dan once more. Dan, we are getting these visuals of students in Iran being relocated to safer areas. So situation remains very tense there. We can see in the visuals as well. There is a little bit of chaos. People are moving to safer location. How would you assess this?
Yes, sure. Anytime, of course, there is military conflict, there's going to be chaos on the ground. Something that's worth noting here is that Israel is targeting very specifically and very precisely military and regime installations, and is giving warning to the people of Iran to clear the area, to evacuate so that they're not harmed, while at the same time Iran is specifically targeting Israeli civilian populations. If it wasn't for Israel's billions of dollars spent on air defenses and warning systems and shelters throughout the country, you would see many, many tens of thousands of Israelis, maybe even more, maybe 1 million Israelis killed by the Iranian strikes, because they are directly aimed at Israeli civilian populations. At the same time, Iran has invested the same billions of dollars on missiles and terror groups over the last 20 to 30 years, and not on protecting its own population, something we see entirely consistent across the Iran-led radical axis from Hamas to Hezbollah to the Houthis and others. They spend money on offensive weapons to terrorize civilian populations in the Middle East, while Israel spends that same money on defensive solutions, whether to neutralize the missile attacks or protect civilian populations. And it's stunning that maybe a similar amount of civilians have been killed in Iran as have been in Israel, which shows how much Israel is taking considerable care and caution to avoid harming Iranian civilians, while Iran is doing everything it can to try to target Israeli civilians.
Absolutely. And in the last 5 days, we have seen this escalation between Iran and Israel, with the US also sending the bomber fighter jets towards Europe. How do you think this entire situation will pan out in the next 1 week?
This is a major statement of pressure and of intention by the United States. The United States, of course, under President Trump especially, has made clear that they do not wish to get involved in any more Middle Eastern conflicts. But it is clear that the United States gave Iran, the regime, 60 days to come to the table and negotiate an end to its nuclear program in good faith. The Iranians dismissed it, avoided it, and did everything they could to drag it out. It is clear that the Iranians regime were not willing to part with their military nuclear program. Of course, their people are suffering under sanctions and under a crippling economy. And at the same time, they choose to pump all of their money into proxies and this foolish nuclear program. Israel could not wait by anymore for an existential threat on it. And so this is a further statement of pressure by Washington that it will join the conflict if it has to, in order to end Iran's nuclear program.
The entire situation pans out in the next 1 week. In fact, let us stay on with us, Dan. We have these visuals on the screen of the areas that have been attacked by Israel on Iran in the last 5 days. We have Tabriz there, explosion near Nuclear Research Center, Tehran. That is where the military base is. State broadcaster, remember, their building was attacked yesterday. Natanz, and this is the main nuclear enrichment facility which was attacked last week. Kermanshah, very important place in Iran, refueling plane at the area was also attacked by Israel in the last few days. These are the main areas, be it the nuclear facilities or military bases, nuclear research center, nuclear research site. airport was also hit by Israel as well. So Dan, Israel has attacked all of these prominent places there, be it their nuclear facilities, military base, etc. And Iran has also hit back at Israel at several places as well. Buildings were destroyed. There have been several deaths that have been reported so far. How would you assess this?
Yeah, you can see a very clear unrolling of a carefully prepared Israeli targeting package that starts with air defenses, missile installations, nuclear program, continues on to the entire leadership cadre of the Iranian military regime and intelligence regime, and then goes after symbolic sites, but also sites that are directly connected to Iran's ability to manage the war effort and the country. You're talking about airports, you're talking about seaports, you're talking about eventually we'll probably start seeing energy installations. There seems to be, from what we're seeing here, an escalation strategy that Israel clearly prepared. And the timing and the coordination of these attacks is something that was clearly prepared years in advance, likely, with a clear understanding of how Iran's government, regime, society, economy, infrastructure work. And so each strike is intended to cripple or destabilize or disable a part of Iran's ability to conduct itself and to wage this war, but it's also meant to be another part of the strategy to show that Israel can continue escalating and continue taking more serious damage from the Iranian regime should it not seek some kind of end to this conflict, which ends verifiably Iran's nuclear military program.
Absolutely. So remains to be seen how it pans out in the next 1 week, but definitely attacks and counterattacks still happening, and it's been 5 days. Thank you, Dan, for giving us those details and speaking to Republic TV. Now we have a breaking news coming in. Footage, in fact, what we are getting is the footage from the center of Iran. Israeli Air Force aircraft targeted by surface-to-air missile and eliminated launch squad within seconds. An Israeli Air Force aircraft operating deep in Iranian airspace identified yesterday a squad firing surface-to-air missile at the aircraft. So we'll be getting those visuals for you in just some time. And this is the breaking news that we're getting for you, that Israeli Air Force aircraft have been targeted by the surface-to-air missile and eliminated launch squad within seconds. Now shifting our focus, US President Donald Trump has left the group of G7 summit in Canada a day early due to the situation in the Middle East. French President stated that Trump had made an offer for a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And earlier, President Donald Trump had urged everyone to immediately evacuate Tehran and reiterated that Iran should have signed a nuclear deal with the United States. Trump briefly spoke about his experience at the G7 summit before leaving for the United States. Here is more on the story.
U.S. President Donald Trump has left 1 day early from the G7 summit that is being held in Kananaskis of Canada. Due to the Israel-Iran conflict and the current situation in the Middle East, President Donald Trump headed back to the White House early. Speaking with the press at the G7 summit, Trump shared that he will be heading back after having dinner with the leaders.
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. You did a fantastic show. Thank you, Canada. But you probably see what I see. I have to be back as soon as I can. I'm going to have dinner with these wonderful leaders, and then I get on the plane. I have to be back early.
President Trump reflected on the meeting and said that a lot got done. He said that the other leaders understand that he has to leave early. Trump was seen boarding an airplane at Calgary Airport to head back to the United States.
Well, the leaders of G7 nation, Canada, France, Germany, Italy and Japan, the United Kingdoms and the US have voiced their support for Israel, and they have issued a statement. European Foreign Minister have also urged Iran to, in fact, as far as negotiation with the United States and avoid escalating conflict with Israel. Donald Trump dramatically left the G7 summit in Canada a day early to rush back to Washington with the French president, claiming that US leader was considering the prospect of ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Meanwhile, Trump condemns Macron's statement by saying something bigger than ceasefire is coming. India has begun evacuating its nationals from Iran amid the escalating tensions between Tehran and Israel. The first batch of 110 Indian nationals who have safely crossed into Armenia will fly to the national capital tomorrow. MEA has urged Indian nationals living in Tehran to evacuate and contact the embassy. The military exchanges worsened between Israel and Iran overnight. Israeli strikes hit multiple locations in Iran, including its capital, Tehran. Indian Air Force completed several extensive strikes on military targets of the Iranian regime in the western Iran. During the strikes, dozens of surface-to-surface missile storage and launch infra was struck. In addition to this, surface-to-air missile launchers and UAV storage sites was struck in western Iran. Iran's missiles have struck deep inside Israel, causing significant damage to the key infrastructure. One of the hardest hit sites is the Haifa oil refinery, where pipelines and transmission lines were damaged in the assault. The attack marks a major escalation in the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict, raising concerns over the regional stability and the potential for a broader war. Now, despite the damage, Israeli authorities report no casualty and say that core refinery operations are still active. We're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, massive crisis hits India's aviation sector. Multiple Air India flights report technical snag and cancellation. Passengers have been left stranded.
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong.
Well, good afternoon, viewers. You're watching live and breaking, and I'm Rakshita Mishra with you. Let's get started with all the top stories making headlines at 2:30. Massive crisis hits India's aviation sector. Multiple Air India flights report technical snags and cancellations. Passengers left stranded. Delhi-bound Indigo flight emergency landing in Nagpur. Passengers deplaned after technical snag. A 110 Indian students evacuated from Tehran amid escalation in Israel-Iran hostilities. Students cross over border to Trump contradicts Macron's statement on Israel-Iran ceasefire, says Macron has no idea on why he cut short his G7 visit. Trump hints at something bigger than ceasefire. And Prime Minister Modi in Canada to attend the G7 summit to meet Zelensky on the sidelines of the summit. Breaking news coming in right now, viewers. Just after the recent terrorist attack in Kashmir's Pahalgam, top US security experts have strongly criticized Pakistan, calling for it to be officially designated as a state sponsor of terrorism. Asim Munir has been directly accused of supporting terrorism, equating him with Osama bin Laden in terms of threat and ideology. That's the breaking news we have right now. Asim Munir humiliated in the United States outside the hotel. That's what you're hearing about Asim Munir in the United States. Top security expert has compared him to Osama bin Laden. That's the breaking news we are getting in right now. If I go further, quoting what has been said about him, a former Pentagon official and senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute has called for the United States to officially label Pakistan as a state sponsor of terrorism. He also pointed to Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir, saying that he's no different from Osama bin Laden, accusing him of supporting terrorism, and said that the only difference between Osama bin Laden and Asim Munir is that Osama bin Laden lived in a cave and Asim Munir lives in a palace. But beyond that, the two are the same, he says, and their end should also be the same. That's the breaking news we have. And in fact, former Pentagon official says that Asim Munir and Osama bin Laden are the same. Massive embarrassment for Pakistanis in the United States. Asim Munir humiliated, and how in the United States the so-called field marshal been compared to terrorist, Al-Qaeda terrorist Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of 9/11 terror attack. And this is coming in as Asim Munir was there in a hotel in the United States. And in fact, he has faced this sloganeering outside his hotel. These chants, these humiliating chants, butcher of Pakistanis also. These are the protests happening outside the hotel where Asim Munir was. And this is another embarrassment. You know, we've seen how Pakistan has made a mockery of itself, but it is humiliating. It is more than humiliating. Saying it's an embarrassment is just it's an understatement, viewers, because this is the army chief of Pakistan. Viewers, we shift our focus to the conflict between Iran and Israel. And in the wake of this conflict, several students have been evacuated from Iran. In fact, New Delhi has advised students to move away from Tehran, especially where we've seen there have been massive airstrikes in Tehran and in several parts of Iran. In fact, Kashmiri students studying in Iran have been also affected by this. My colleague Zeenat is joining us live on the broadcast from Jammu and Kashmir. Zeenat, tell us more. What is the update on the students, especially who are from Kashmir, who are in Iran? What are their families saying? What is their latest communication?
See, Rakshita, the escalation between Iran and Israel has left many students stranded there, though there have been the effort being made by the ministry to evacuate them. But that has also left scores of parents worried about the children who are pursuing their professional courses. I'm joined by one of the family. They come from the downtown Srinagar, and the family, the parent of this very young girl who's doing her MBBS from the Tehran University, Nisar Saab, शिराज यूनिवर्सिटी. निसार साहब, आप बताइए कि कई दिनों से आपकी बच्ची के साथ जो भी बात हुई है, क्या बताया, क्या हालातों के बारे में बताया, अभी तक जो कॉन्वर्सेशन हुआ किससे रिलेटेड?
बेसिकली वो शिराज यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ती है, 3rd ईयर में पढ़ती है. तो जब से वहाँ ये स्टार्ट हो गया इसराइल और ईरान के बीच में जो
She is the daughter of the family who's studying in Shiraz University. and she is the one who's still been stuck there, and I'm joined by her father, Nisar.
जी मैम, वो शिराज मेडिकल यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ रही है। 2-4 दिन पहले जब ये वार स्टार्ट हो गया बिटवीन इसराइल एंड ईरान, तो वो बहुत डरे हुए थे। तो पहले दिन तो उतने डरे हुए नहीं थे, लेकिन जैसे जैसे वो दिन चढ़ता गया तो वहाँ से भी रॉकेट आ रहे हैं, यहाँ से भी रॉकेट आ रहे हैं। तो वो हॉस्टल में स्टक थे। तो फिर वो क्या करते, या हम फ़ोन करते, हम क्या कर सकते थे। फिर यूनिवर्सिटी वालों से कांटेक्ट किया। यूनिवर्सिटी बोलने वाला आप हॉस्टल में रहिए, आप बाहर मत निकले, हम देखते हैं क्या हालात रहेंगे, उसी हिसाब से करेंगे। तो रात को ज़्यादा जब वहाँ रॉकेट वगैरह मिसाइल चलने लगे तो वो बहुत डरे हुए, सहमे हुए थे। तो फिर उन्होंने हमारे साथ कांटेक्ट किया, हम क्या कर सकते थे। फिर लकीली हम थैंकफुल है इंडियन एम्बेसी के जो वहाँ ईरान में है, उन्होंने उनके साथ कांटेक्ट किया, उनको अपना व्हाट्सअप नंबर दिया, कांटेक्ट नंबर, बोला आप घबराइए मत, हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हालात कैसे रहेंगे उस हिसाब से हम कोशिश करेंगे कि आपको सेफ जगह इवैक्यूएट करेंगे।
तो अभी तक इवैक्यूएशन हुआ है क्या?
आज मॉर्निंग में मेरी बेटी के साथ बात हुई, इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड टाइम 7 AM, तो वहाँ तेहरान में 5 AM थे। तो उनको उस टाइम इवैक्यूएट कर रहे थे वहाँ से सेफर प्लेस। इंडियन एम्बेसी की तरफ से उनका फुल सपोर्ट उनसे मिला, इंडियन एम्बेसी की तरफ से। वो कंटिन्यू इन दोनों उनके साथ टच में थे। वो 3-4 दिन से सोए नहीं, क्योंकि वहाँ उस होस्ट में लड़कियाँ हैं, 80% कश्मीरी है, लेबनानीज, इराकी और भी कई कंट्री की लड़कियां हैं। वहाँ लड़कियों का ही हॉस्टल है वो। तो लेकिन सपोर्ट बहुत ही मिला उनको, यूनिवर्सिटी वालों ने भी सपोर्ट किया। तो एम्बेसी वालों ने उनके
बच्चे जो है वो आपकी बेटी के साथ वहाँ फंसे हुए, कुछ बताया?
वहाँ उसने बताया कि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी के 200 लड़कियाँ थी। जी जी जी।
तो अभी तक जो है उनको वहाँ से निकाला नहीं गया है?
आज मॉर्निंग में उनको वहाँ से निकाला गया। इंडियन एम्बेसी ने आज उनको इवैक्यूएट वहाँ से किया।
करके कहाँ ले गए?
वो उनको बोला नहीं गया कि हम कहाँ ले जा रहे हैं। अभी सवेरे से उनके साथ बात नहीं हुई है। सवेरे मॉर्निंग में उसने ISD कॉल की थी, उसका वहाँ का एक लोकल नंबर है, क्योंकि वहाँ नेट शेट नहीं चल रहा है। कल से तो उनके साथ बात ही नहीं हो पा रही थी। लेकिन इंडियन एम्बेसी ने उनको इन टच कंटिन्यू बच्चों के साथ है, बोला आप घबराइए मत, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कम से कम कि एयर स्पेस बंद है, लेकिन कम से कम हम आपको सेफर प्लेस में इवैक्यूएट करेंगे। और कल रात को इनको मैसेज आई थी आप मॉर्निंग में रेडी रहिए, हम अरेंज कर रहे हैं गाड़ियाँ वगैरह, मॉर्निंग में हम आपको इवैक्यूएट करेंगे।
अंकल, अभी जो कम्युनिकेशन सिस्टम है काफ़ी ज़्यादा डाउन है, वहाँ कम्युनिकेशन नहीं हो पा रहा है, तो उसके बावजूद किस तरह से आपसे बात हो पाई?
उसने वहाँ का लोकल एक नंबर लिया है, उस ISD कॉल वो कर रही है, और वो भी मुश्किल से कनेक्ट हो रहा है, कभी नहीं हो रहा है। आधे मिनट 1 मिनट कनेक्ट हो कट हो जाता है। इंटरनेट वगैरह सब बंद है वहाँ। तो वो बच्चे इस वजह से ज़्यादा सहमे हुए हैं, क्योंकि वहाँ नेट कनेक्टिविटी है, फैमिलीज के साथ कॉन्टैक्ट नहीं हो पा रहा है। और वो भी लड़कियाँ हैं तो, और अदर कंट्री में है, तो नेचुरली वो तो डरे हुए, बहुत सहमे हुए थे वहाँ वो।
अभी तो अंकल एयर स्पेस भी बंद है, तो व्हाट डू यू एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट बिकॉज ऑफ द एयर स्पेस इज कम्प्लीटली शट?
हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से कि वो इनको नियरेस्ट किसी कंट्री में लेके वहाँ से इवैक्यूएट करेंगे दिल्ली।
तो अभी 3rd ईयर की MBBS की स्टूडेंट है, तो इन सालों में कभी इस तरह का प्रॉब्लम देखने को मिला?
नहीं, इन सालों में कभी ऐसा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। ये तो फर्स्ट टाइम वहाँ उनको ये प्रॉब्लम, पिछली बार भी थोड़ा बहुत हो, लेकिन इनको कोई इफेक्ट नहीं पड़ा था। पिछली बार जो हुआ,
पिछली बार एयर स्ट्राइक,
हाँ, उस टाइम को कोई इफेक्ट, कॉलेज भी खुला था, मार्केट भी, यही सब जा रहे थे। लेकिन आज जो हुआ ना, इनको लगा था शायद पिछली तरह की था, एक दिन में एक सारा खत्म, लेकिन जब बढ़ता गया और बच्चे बोल रहे थे, हम खुद देख रहे थे कि रॉकेट यहाँ से भी आ रहे हैं, वहाँ से भी आ रहे हैं। और शिराज में उनके कॉलेज के हॉस्टल के पास ही एक बिल्डिंग को मिसाइल आया था, तो ये सहमे हुए थे। ये फिर ग्राउंड फ्लोर में सारे बच्चे एक जगह बैठे रहे।
तो जो आप बता रहे कि एक नज़दीक की बिल्डिंग में एक रॉकेट हुआ था, तो जहाँ पर ये लोग हैं वहाँ पर उस विसिनिटी में कोई ऐसा डैमेज या कोई ऐसी चीज़ देखने को?
उस एरिया में कोई डैमेज नहीं हुआ, ना उस एरिया में रॉकेट गिरा है। लेकिन धमाके दाएं बाएं हो रहे थे, वो बहुत सहमे हुए थे, और वो फिर एक जगह बैठे थे ग्राउंड फ्लोर में। वो 3 नाइट वो सोए ही नहीं, क्योंकि रात को ये वहाँ ज़्यादा अटैक्स वगैरह होते, चाहे वहाँ से या यहाँ से।
तो इस बीच में जो कि आप कह रहे हैं कि ग्राउंड फ्लोर में उनको रेस्क्यू किया गया, वहाँ रखा गया, तो इस तरह इसमें कुछ खाने पीने को वगैरह कुछ मिला था कि, या सप्लाईज भी नहीं पहुँच पा रही है?
सप्लाईज नहीं पहुँच पा रही है, और बेसिकली वो खुद कुक कर रही है। तो वो बोल रहे थे हमको, हम बना रहे थे लेकिन खा नहीं पा रहे थे टेंशन की वजह से। तो बाकी यूनिवर्सिटी वालों का भी उनका सपोर्ट मिला, लेकिन एम्बेसी वालों के हम थैंकफुल है कि उन्होंने उनको कंटिन्यू उनके साथ इन टच रहे, उनको सपोर्ट किया, उनको आज मॉर्निंग में इवैक्यूएट किया।
तो कई सिविलियन कैजुअलिटीज़ का भी नंबर आ रहा है जो कि भी आइडेंटिफाई नहीं हो रहे हैं कि स्टूडेंट्स कम्युनिटी के लिए आपकी बेटी ने कुछ बताया कि कोई उनके यहाँ कोई इंजरी, स्टूडेंट्स कोई इंजर्ड तो नहीं है उन ग्रुप्स में, या किसी का कैजुअलिटी या कोई प्रॉपर्टी उसमें डैमेज तो नहीं?
नहीं, ना उसकी यूनिवर्सिटी को कोई, ना हॉस्टल को, ना कोई स्टूडेंट जख्मी हो गया है शिराज में। हाँ, बोल रहे थे, सुनने में आया है कि 2-3 बच्चे तेहरान में कुछ माइनर इंजरी उनको हुई है।
क्या वो कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट?
कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट 3 है, लेकिन माइनर इंजरी बोल रहे, मेरी बेटी बोल रहे, हम उनके साथ बात हुई, माइनर इंजरी हुई। बेसिकली वहाँ धमाके की वजह से हॉस्टल के शीशे टूट गए थे, उस वजह से उनको माइनर इंजरी हो गई थी। शिराज में कोई इंजरी नहीं है, वहाँ सारे बच्चे सेफ है, सबको आज इवैक्यूएट किया गया है। तो अब पता नहीं कहाँ किस
इवैक्यूएशन प्रोसेस जो हो रहा है उसमें आपकी बेटी को कहाँ रखा गया?
अभी पता नहीं है, क्योंकि उसका कांटेक्ट ही नहीं है। अभी पता नहीं वो कहाँ पहुँचे, ना उनको बोला गया है कि हम आपको कहाँ ले जाएंगे, लेकिन खाली एम्बेसी वालों ने बोला हम आपको सेफर प्लेस पे ले जाएंगे, वहाँ से फिर हम देखेंगे, हम आपको इवैक्यूएट करके दिल्ली भेज देंगे। तो जहाँ तक लगता है कुछ बच्चों को, मेरे एक फ्रेंड का बेटा है, उनको आर्मी ने बॉर्डर क्रॉस कराया गया, और शायद नेक्स्ट विदिन 2-3 डेज उनको आर्मी ने सिर्फ दिल्ली ले जाएगा।
अच्छा, इवैक्यूएट करके कहाँ ले गए हैं?
उनको आर्मी ने ले गए हैं, कुछ बच्चों को। इनका अभी पता नहीं है, उनके से अभी कांटेक्ट नहीं है, इनको कहाँ ले गए हैं। तो अब जब कांटेक्ट हो तभी तो पता चलेगा।
One family from downtown Srinagar, the daughter is stuck in the Tehran University. You see the airspace is shut, the communication is not working, internet speed has gone drastically down. Now all eyes on Ministry of External Affairs for the help.
Right. Zina, thank you so much for joining us with that conversation coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. We'll keep a close eye on the updates on the students in Iran. Viewers, right now we have some breaking news coming in. Top sources tell Republic TV that the black box from the recent Ahmedabad plane crash will be examined in India and will not be sent abroad for analysis. Remember, earlier there were talks about the black box being decoded in a lab in France or United Kingdom. But now what we know, and this is an exclusive input that Republic TV has received on the Ahmedabad black box that holds the key to understand what really happened. What top sources tell us that the black box will be examined in India. Gopi is joining us on the broadcast for more on that. Gopi, tell us more updates, because earlier it was told that this will be sent to maybe France or UK, but it's a good thing to know that it's going to be examined now in India itself.
Well, in fact, yes, Rakshita, what we are learning from our sources is yesterday it was the CVR which was discovered, which was found, in fact, from the crash site. And now the entire investigation is to be done here itself in India. What we are learning from our sources is there are 2 components in the black box, and both the components will be studied. This is, in fact, going to help reconstruct the entire sequence of the event, what went wrong before the plane crashed, a few seconds before the plane crashed, what was actually the pilot talking about, what were the background noises, the radio programming, everything would be figured out from this very CVR which has been recovered from the crash site yesterday.
Yes, Gopi,
but yes,
Gopi,
top sources are
stay on with us. We have senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us on the broadcast. Abhishek, well, what we know now that the key to this investigation is the black box, and it is going to be examined here in India. What more details can you share with us?
Well, you see what the pilot said, what the ATC heard, what the ATC responded with, and other parameters of the flight. Everything is there in the black box, which is made up of 2 components, as we know now: the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, which has all the physical parameters of the flight. And the cockpit voice recorder not just records what the pilot is saying or the co-pilot is saying, but other ambient noises also. And that really helps the investigators piece together the puzzle in the case that there was not enough time for the pilots also to sort of encapsulate what was happening, and if, for example, if they failed to comprehend. So that way, it's very important that the black boxes are deciphered properly. Typically, Depending on the arrangement, they would go sometimes to the Boeing plant or the NTSB actually in the United States, which is the National Transportation Services Board of the U.S., or to the BEA in Europe. This time it's been decided, like we do with other airline disasters, we would want to.
Just stay with us, Abhishek. We have some breaking news coming in right now. There's Donald Trump who has just, I think.
We'll come down so hard, and then the gloves are off so beautifully. Now, I think they know not to touch our troops.
Are you sending the vice? Do you plan to send the vice president and Steve Witkoff? There's reports that you want to send the vice president and Steve Witkoff to meet with the Iranians and have discussions. Is that something you're considering?
Not sure yet. I may. Depends on what happens when I get back.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end. A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent?
Yeah, or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible? Is that possible in the next 24
Why not? Certainly possible. Complete give up. That's possible, yeah.
Has the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense drawn up plans for you if Iran were to attack U.S. bases or do any damage to U.S. bases?
Just can't tell you.
Can I ask you, because there's been some skepticism, is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
Of everything or anything in our life, you know that. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program, or where's your assessment of that?
I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before that. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
Do you have any reason to believe the Israelis are going to slow down, or are they going to hit the accelerator right now?
Well, we're going to see. You're going to find out over the next 2 days, right? You're going to find out.
Has the gang of 8...
Nobody's slowed up so far.
Has the gang of 8 been notified about what's coming in the next couple days?
Well, we'll be talking to them.
What can you do?
It's not necessary.
What can you do in Washington that you couldn't do in Canada?
Just be a little bit, I think, more well-versed. Not having to use telephones so much, because I don't believe in telephones. Because people like you listen to them, you know. So being on the scene is much better. And we did everything I had to do on the G7. We had a good G7. We signed the deal with the European Union, phase 1 of a deal. But we signed the deal with the UK. And the UK is really great. We're very far down the line with a lot of deals. I mean, look, we're actually finished with every deal if you really think about it, because all I have to do is say, this is what you're going to pay.
Did Secretary
But it's nice to be nice.
Did Secretary Bessent stay behind as your representative?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, a couple of people.
Can I ask you where...
Who else has a question other than CNN fake news?
President, you talked with the European Union. Can you tell us what the status is on talks on those who signed
Well,
with
we're
the UK
talking,
today?
but I don't feel that they're offering a fair deal yet. You know, they've been very tough over the years. If you look at European Union, they formed in order to hurt the United States on trade. And we're either going to make a good deal or they'll just pay whatever we say then.
What about the Japanese? Sir, you met briefly with Prime Minister.
We had a great conversation. I thought he was terrific, actually. You know, I was very friendly with Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister. He was a great man. But I think he's know, we're dealing with, really, if you think about it, probably 175 countries. And most of them are going to just be sent a letter saying, it'll be an honor to trade with you, and here's what you're going to have to pay to do it. We're making a lot of money. You know, we took in $88 billion in tariffs. And I was called by Congress about 2 nights ago saying, we don't understand, the numbers are so far off. And I said, is that good or bad? He said, well, we're taking in so much more income than we thought. We've never seen anything like this. What is it? I said, check the tariff column. And it's about $88 billion that they've never seen before. And that's nothing compared to what it's going to be.
You've got other tariffs coming down the pipe here.
I have a lot of them, yeah.
What's the timing on those things like lumber, copper, pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah, we're going to be doing pharmaceuticals very soon. That's going to bring all the companies back into America.
All of them, or focusing on?
It's going to bring most of them back in, at least partially back in. You know, they left us because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. We should have never lost our car business. We lost 52% of our car business over the years. Should have never lost it. All they had to do is say, if you make a car, you're going to leave us, you're going to make a car, you're going to pay a 25-30% tariff, and they would have never left. Nobody said that to anybody until I came along.
Homeland Security is saying that ICE is going to start enforcing in hotels and farms again. Is that a change of course from last week?
We're going to look everywhere, but I think the biggest problem is the inner cities. We're looking everywhere. Look, what they let into this country, what Biden let in, that were allowed to, I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing, frankly, but whoever worked for him, what they let into this country, we're never going to forget it. They let prisoners in, they let gang members in, drug dealers in, the mentally insane into our country. No, we're going to get them out. There are far more in the inner cities, Democrat-run cities, sadly. I mean, I'm just giving you, there's far more in there than you have on a farm someplace.
And no one's getting exemptions anymore, everyone is.
All right, that was Donald Trump. He was addressing the media right now. His live reaction coming in, and he has cut short the G7 visit. He has left Canada a day earlier. And he has, remember, also, this is amidst the Israel-Iran tensions. And Trump cut short this summit visit. He has requested his National Security Council meeting at the White House as well. So it's very important now to understand why this has happened, viewers, because Trump left this G7 summit in Canada, as I said, a day early, due to the situation in West Asia. French President Emmanuel Macron, meanwhile, said that Trump had made an offer for a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Earlier, President Trump had urged everyone to immediately evacuate Tehran and reiterated that Iran should have signed a nuclear deal with the United States. Trump briefly spoke about his experience at the G7 summit before leaving the United States, before leaving for the United States. Here's more.
U.S. President Donald Trump has left one day early from the G7 summit that is being held in Kananaskis of Canada. Due to the Israel-Iran conflict and the current situation in the Middle East, President Donald Trump headed back to the White House early. Speaking with the press at the G7 summit, Trump shared that he will be heading back after having dinner with the leaders.
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. You did a fantastic show. Thank you, Canada. But you probably see what I see. I have to be back as soon as I can. I'm going to have dinner with these wonderful leaders, and then I get on the plane. I have to be back early.
President Trump reflected on the meeting and said that a lot got done. He said that the other leaders understand that he has to leave early. Trump was seen boarding an airplane at Calgary Airport to head back to the United States.
Massive crisis hits India's aviation sector. Multiple Air India flights report technical snags and cancellations. Passengers left stranded. We get you more on that. Stay tuned.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Ini filo. Wow, vai bater esse cu.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing each and every one of these
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. And yes, you are sorry, say again. With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. And yes, you are maintain passion level, advance and able.
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. And yes, you are sorry, say again. With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. And yes, you are maintain passion level, advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong. Able right turn right now in 315.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
3 p.m. and you're watching Live and Breaking with me, Vincent. Let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Exclusive input on Ahmedabad plane crash. Black box to be examined in India, unlikely to be sent abroad for further examination. Major embarrassment for Air India. Another flight from Ahmedabad to London now cancelled due to technical snag. Passengers lash out at the airline. Aviation crisis deepens. Another airline now faces a bomb threat. Major Indigo accident that has now been averted. Israeli military says it killed Iran's wartime chief of staff. Israel-Iran conflict escalates. Prime Minister Modi in Canada to attend G7 summit to meet President Zelensky on the sidelines of the summit. Israel says that the conflict continues until and unless the supreme commander is actually eliminated. In fact, Israel says the end of the conflict will be after the supreme leader of Iran is eliminated. The conflict has only escalated with Iran hitting back. In fact, some reports now suggesting that key facilities, defense facilities in Tel Aviv have now been once again targeted by the Iranians. We're going to get you all the latest updates coming in a short while from now. And the fact of the matter is this. As the G7 summit is underway, President Trump has already cut short his G7 trip. Indications that this is because of the ongoing tensions in West Asia. In fact, the White House has once again clearly indicated that this is because of what's happening in the Middle East. Let's also take you through the latest details coming in. Iran has now attacked Israeli military base near Tel Aviv. Let's just take you through some of the details now coming in. Iran has made a stunning claim. In fact, they say that this is with regards to the latest targets that they've essentially identified. We're also getting in details. This is the claim that has been made that the intelligence unit has been targeted. This is near the Glilot base near Tel Aviv. In fact, Israel's interception failure is what Iran is now claiming. Israel's air defense failed again to intercept its missiles. In fact, the IRGC Cyber Corps has also once again put out a video that we are going to currently put out in a short while from now. This again, let me just quickly tell you that these are claims that have been made by the Iranians. Let's try and see if we can put this out as quickly as possible. These are the latest visuals coming in from the Iranian side. Now this, remember, comes at a time when President Trump has once again indicated that Iran cannot perhaps continue with their nuclear program. On your screens right now, these are the areas that have been targeted by Israel. Areas in the last few days. It started on Friday, and remember, the areas that have been targeted by Israel are those which are the nuclear enrichment facilities in Iran, which includes Natanz, as well as some parts of Tehran that have been targeted. Important to point out here that President Trump on the sidelines of the G7 has once again indicated that Iran perhaps cannot have a nuclear weapon. In fact, the G7 statement that has been signed by all partners, which also includes President Trump, once again makes it very clear that Iran perhaps cannot continue with their nuclear program, and the Israelis have been indicating the same, that the aim of these attacks that have been carried out over the last few days, starting from Friday, is to perhaps cripple Iran so that they cannot continue with their nuclear program, because they say it's going to be dangerous for the entire region. That's what the Israelis have to say. The Iranians, on the other side, have been indicating that this is a Zionist regime and all that they want is to continue with the war. In fact, the Iranians have reached out to United States of America saying that if at all President Trump believes in dialogue, that this perhaps is the time to pick up that phone and make that call to Prime Minister Netanyahu to bring an end to this escalation in the region itself. On your screens right now, these are the latest developments that have taken place in the last few hours. Iran's wartime chief of staff has now been eliminated in the opening strike of Operation Rising Lion. I'm going to just quickly take you through what's coming in from the Israeli Defense Forces with regards to the wartime chief who has now been targeted. We're going to take you through some of the details that are now coming in. First, in the last 60 minutes, what has happened? On your screens right now, these are images that have been shot by Indian students. Large number of Kashmiri students who have been stuck in Iran. They have now been evacuated through Armenia. On your screens right now, these are the details. 1,300 medical students have been evacuated from Iran. Iran has attacked Israelis' military base near Tel Aviv. That's happened in the last 60 minutes. Mossad building in Herzliya has been targeted by a rocket attack that has actually taken place. Iran makes a claim saying that the main cause of instability and war happens to be Israel. Now, that's a claim that has been, once again, that's a statement that has been made by the Iranians. Trump, in all likelihood, may be sending across US Vice President J.D. Vance, as well as the Middle East envoy Witkoff to Iran for further talks, because there have been some indications coming in that there is a possibility that talks could take place between the United States of America and Iran. Iranians say that it is President Trump's responsibility to ensure that they dial the Prime Minister, and thereafter ensure that there is a de-escalation to take place. On your screens right now, these are multiple images that are essentially coming in from various parts of Iran right now, particularly from Tehran, where the evacuation is underway. In fact, President Trump once again has indicated that Tehran, those living in Tehran, should be leaving the city as soon as possible. Now, that's what President Trump had to say. I'm also going to go across to Ariella Rosenthal. He's the Director of International Relations, joining us from Ashdod. Ariella, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. The Iranians say that it is time for President Trump to dial Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu so that a ceasefire can be worked out. Do you believe that there is a possibility of any sort of ceasefire, particularly what we are witnessing right now with the United States of America upping the ante?
Well, I must say that on my personal belief that my country is knowing what it's doing now, in the terms that we will do all what is needed to eliminate the threat of Iran on the survival of the state of Israel. We must remember that in the last days since the escalation, Israel is only targeting military targets and not citizen targets like Iran is doing. We've had here several deaths and very hard bombardments throughout Israel. And I am sure that my country will finish first all the bank of targets that it has to do in order that in the future Israel will not be under a threat. And of course, Israel is now doing all what is doing, not only for the safety of Israel, but the safety of the world.
Well, in fact, Arila, just to put this into perspective as to what's the end game right now for the Israelis, because it seems that there is a limitation that Israel faces right now. You do not have the ammunition to continue with the bunker bombers, and that is the reason why you need the United States of America to step in. What if US does not step in and US sees this as an opportunity to strike a deal? And if that really works out, where does Israel really stand?
Well, Israel and the US are allies. We are known for backing one another. I'm sure that the US, as I heard from the news, that even President Trump informed all to leave Tehran because he knows what will be in the near future. And I'm fully sure that Israel and the US are working together. And the US understands the situation that Israel is not only under a permanent threat and survival, but also all the Western countries, all who for favors free value, democratic values, and not dark ages like the regime in Iran.
Arila, one final question that I want to ask you, for those who are outside Israel, could you give us a sense of what's really happening in various parts of the country? Because we believe the Iranians have made a claim that some of the military facilities closer to Tel Aviv have been targeted. What's the truth like? What's really happening around you?
Well, I must say, in Ashdod, we're the fifth largest city in Israel. We're a strategic city in Israel. We are always on alert. Thank God, up till now, we have not received any bombardments in the city. Throughout Israel, yes, there are some strategic plants that have been hit, but we will overcome it. And we are a strong country, both morally and not only military. And we are listening very close to the guidelines of the home front, which have been proved to be very directing us how to conduct during emergency. And yes, we have lots of death, but it could have been worse. And thank God to the IDF that is looking and guiding the population how to behave during missiles attack. So I know that now Israel is already preparing everything that will be, the places that have been hit will be abolished and everything will be okay. The main thing is that we must immediately listen to the guidelines. They are life-saving, and that's what the population is doing. Right. And the rest, we leave it to the government, and God bless Israel.
Arla, thank you very much for joining us from Ashdod and giving us a sense of what's really happening on the ground. Now, as far as the United States of America is concerned and what's the role that it would essentially play, whether at all US gets directly into it, because that's what the Israelis would rather want, draw the United States of America into the war, because there is a huge limitation that Israel really faces right now, particularly if at all they want to cripple Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, let me take you through what has happened in the last few hours with regards to the United States of America and its Air Force jets. There are 30 aircrafts that have essentially moved towards Spain. In fact, the US has mobilized its resources, 30 Air Force aircraft that have been moved, all KC-135. 2 aircraft has already touched down in Sevilla. In Spain, more aircraft are approaching towards Europe. Now, that's the US airbase in Spain, where some of the aircraft have landed. Now, if at all the United States of America joins the Israelis, that would essentially mean that the talks have gone nowhere. United States of America has made it very clear that they are looking for a deal. And the deal is with regards to the fact that Iran will essentially not continue with their nuclear program. And the Iranians, on the other hand, have been a little iffy about this entire issue, but whether at all they are going to go ahead with the nuclear program itself, and how exactly would they do without the support of United States of America. Shifting focus now to the other big story that we are tracking at this hour. It's the preliminary investigation in the Ahmedabad-London flight that we've now accessed. Boeing was flying with minimum equipment list. Also, the MEL approval comes from the DGCA. I'm just going to get you details of what is the MEL right now. We're going to go across to our reporters on the ground itself. Investigation is likely to be followed thereafter. Let me just quickly go and see if we can go across to Harsha for more details. Harsha, could you just perhaps flesh it out for all our viewers? What are the details that you're getting right now with regards to, number one, what's this approval in the first place? What is the equipment list that you're essentially talking about? And are you suggesting that Air India has basically come to a conclusion with regards to the list, the equipment list that they were essentially carrying at that point in time, which does not match the approval list?
So, Shawan, right now, through the preliminary report, there are so many technical points in the AIB preliminary report, but initially what we have got to know is the MEL. It's the minimum equipment list. The approval which comes directly from the DGCA, that means DGCA has to give the approval to the airlines if they are flying the aircraft, if they are flying the Boeing with the minimum equipment list. This clearly states that if there's some problem in the engine, if there's some problem in the landing gear, if some extra equipment is needed, that equipment is not available in the aircraft. That equipment Air India doesn't have. That equipment has yet not been restored in the aircraft to fly that particular aircraft. That means they are playing with the safety of passengers, not now, since long. These all MEL approval is given by DGCA, which is the regulatory body. So it also comes under the DGCA, also now comes under scanner. That how come DGCA was giving the approval to Air India to fly the aircraft with minimum equipment list? Flying an aircraft with minimum equipment list, it's itself very dangerous and it's very scary for the passengers. Anything could happen airborne, anything could happen mid-air. And right now what we have got to know is that DGCA is the one regulatory body which gives the minimum equipment list approval to Air India. And in this case, most of the Boeings which Air India is flying with minimum equipment list. Most of the equipments are not available in the aircraft. That means any point of time there could be problem in the landing gear, in the normal braking, in the flight control system, and something like this has happened in the Ahmedabad Gatwick flight as well, which crashed. It was flying with MEL. Most of the equipments were not in the aircraft, or most of the equipments were not maintained. There were equipment issues in the cockpit. There were equipment issues in the engine as well. What the prelim report is stating and suggesting. Now, this is the preliminary report which we have accessed from the AIB. More details is yet to come. But yes, Shravan, this is the very important thing which we need to highlight is that DGCA should also be kept under scanner, because DGCA has been giving MEL approval to Air India. Back to you.
To the DGCA has now issued a summon, and this is to Air India as well as Air India Express. Let me just quickly take you through some of the details that Harsha is getting us. Can we just go full frame with the latest visuals coming in, because there is also details coming in from various airports, particularly from Ahmedabad, where we are given to understand the same very aircraft, or the same very aircraft, that is the Boeing aircraft that was supposed to take off from Ahmedabad to London, has been cancelled. Now I'm going to just take you through some of the details that we are getting in right now. Air India's engineering department head as well as engineering officials have all been called by the DGCA. The meeting has already begun. The DGCA DG is questioning the engineering officials on the technical issues in Boeing aircraft AI-171 and other Boeings too. Remember, there are other aircrafts that have also come under the scrutiny right now. And let me also take you through some of the details that we're getting in right now with regards to the details now coming in with the examination that has been done so far by the DGCA. Number one, with regards to the number of incidents that have been reported over the last 48 hours. There is a crisis that has hit Air India at this point in time, particularly with the Boeing aircrafts that have come under the scanner. In fact, the DGCA has now issued a notice to Air India with regards to the inspection of the Boeing aircraft, particularly the Dreamliners being under the scanner right now. As we speak, I'm given to understand that the DGCA is questioning the Air India engineering chief and the other engineering officials from the very department, particularly with regards to the maintenance of the Dreamliner. In fact, we are given to understand that the Dreamliner was last serviced in the month of March, and that was from Mumbai, where the servicing actually took place. Those details have been obtained by the DGCA after the notice was issued. Now, in the last few hours, there have been multiple incidents that have been reported from not just Air India, but other airlines too. In fact, there is a breaking news now coming in with regards to the flights, the incidents that have been reported so far. So Goa Delhi flight which had taken off from Goa on Monday around 4 p.m. experienced a major turbulence 10 minutes after takeoff. In fact, we're going to move out of the turbulence is that has been reported from Indigo. Can I just quickly go back to the details coming in with regards to the DGCA examination? I'm given to understand that the DGCA is essentially questioning the engineering officials right now. Can we just go back to the breaking, please? The DGCA summons Air India Engineering Department head today, and engineering officials have been rushed to the DGCA office. The meeting has also started. DGCA's questioning that has taken place. DGCA is questioning Boeing officials too. We are given to understand that this is part of the examination that is being done